Hi, everybody. I am so sorry for my tardiness. Guess what? We were having issues and we were on a wrong link. So I got everybody on, and actually, I just want to re-welcome Rebelde, and we have my son Junior on here. And the conversation started by what do we think about one, the documentaries that we've seen, and also two is Sarai read this letter about some ministers that sent a letter to Naasón. And so we were talking about Rebelde, and Junior and I were talking about um, why is it that Naasón did not go to trial. And so, Junior, you're gonna have to reintroduce yourself again. I'm so sorry. Can you please just kind of introduce yourself real quick and then give us your thoughts? And Rebelde, welcome back. I'm sorry that I had the wrong link. So hey,
Okay.
things happen, and that's what happens when we're live, right? So,
Right.
but I want everybody to know that this is actually going to be really fun. Kevin could not be with us today, so I'm going to have to wing it with you guys. And but I think it's going to be kind of fun. Things that aren't prepared sometimes come out nice. But I want to kind of make it Spanglish. Poquito de español y poquito de inglés. So tengo la carta que mandó los encargados a Nason, and it's a really good letter, and I would love to read part of it to you guys, English and Spanish, so we can get a feel of it. But anyway, Junior, just introduce yourself, who you are, and as I mentioned before, I was married to Aldez a long time ago. The best gift that my ex could have given me were my three beautiful children. And Junior has been my rock through this whole thing, has never critiqued me, has never criticized me, or told me, Mom, you need to stop. He's always been there for me when I'm in and when I'm out. So, Junior, you're on.
Thanks for introducing me that way, Mom. I love you. Yeah, I'm your oldest son, the oldest Valdez grandson to carry the name. I've spent
All
time
right.
with my family. I spent some time in Guadalajara growing up out there, and that I can say that I stayed in the church forever. I think there was the whole time I was growing up, I really never felt that crazy devotion to church, just being in part of a member of like una familia elite, as they would call it. When everybody knows when you get close to one of those families or like that, things they really aren't all they're cracked up to be. So as I was never a fanatic. We were talking about that earlier, and so my transition leaving church was always pretty smooth. I didn't go through as much traumatic events as a lot of people unfortunately have that are recently leaving the church, and I think that's something that I'm super thankful that you're providing a place for people that are maybe going through some of those kind of instant changes from just going from one day, you got a family and then you don't believe what they believe and then you feel like you don't. I think that I'm really proud of you to try to provide a haven for people to come and share
That's
their
the
stories
that's
and
our
continue
goal.
to feel normal.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's our goal, mijo.
Yeah, absolutely. And we
Oh,
think about this before you even started the channel.
Yeah, yeah.
You have actually
I
provided,
appreciate that, mijo.
you should provide this place.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that,
So
and
yeah,
that's
that's
what
who I
I'm.
am.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, and that's the reason why this channel. And but like I said, quiero que sepan todos que en este día vamos a hacer un programa en español y en inglés. Vamos a revolverle un poquito de todo. Noto que está aquí Excecam y también Héctor Vera y la Chimapultruja. Me encantaría y creo que está Liva aquí yeah, I think he was. Si gustan entrar, les mando el link. Ya se lo mandé a Héctor. Um, Héctor y este Execam los escuché el sábado con Saraí. Qué bárbaro, me tocaron el corazón. You guys touched my heart. You made me cry. Execam, hiciste llorar. Y me encantaría que subieras un poquito solamente para darte las gracias y darte un abrazo cibernético y decirte que te quiero mucho. Este canal de Kevin, el mío, apenas va empezando. Una de las primeras guest, ¿cómo se dicen guest? Invitadas fue Rebelde. Y nos encantó ella, donde quiera está, y me encanta su personalidad, que ella no anda con drama, ni le gusta el drama, ella con todo mundo habla y con todo mundo se hace amigo. Así es que me encantaría que estuviera, aunque sea un ratito, nada más para saludarlos. But anyway, we were back talking about Rebelde, about you were sharing some thoughts with Junior earlier of how you got out of church, and how was it that you, qué te hizo, qué te prendió el foco, para que se te fue fácil para salirte o fue difícil para salirte. What is it?
Thanks, Chimotrufia. She says that I'm awesome.
She's awesome. You are awesome. You rock. I'm saying you rock.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, like I was telling Junior earlier, behind the scenes. Hi, Rogelio.
Hi, mijo. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hello. I just see how long I can stay here.
Okay.
It's okay, mijo. It's okay.
That's all right. Well, I was telling Junior that I always had like my thoughts of, like all this process and everything. My mother had always told me that there was only going to be one apostle, that was Samuel, and he was going to be the last one. And when he died, his desire was to take us en las nubes con, in una Santa Cena. And that's why we had to prepare ourselves and in las Santa Cenas, and because who knows, God could recogernos en ese día. So then
you can
when
do
he
Spanglish, you're okay with that.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do kind of like a little bit of
yeah.
cantinflando. Cantinflas. I love cantinflas.
Oye, Mica, ¿sabes qué? Está Leroy con nosotros y está pasando por unos percances muy pequeños. He got a flat tire. So let me give him some time really quick. Leroy, you're on mute, but what we were talking about, mijo, is the subject of what are your thoughts about Naasón pleading guilty and knowing that he was a man of God, knowing that he was an apostle, having the faith in God? Why didn't he trust in God to lead him through the path of a trial? What do you think about that? ¿Qué piensas de que no tuvo la fe en Dios de irse a un juicio? You're on mute, mijo. Oh, no, you're not anymore.
I'm back. Hello,
Okay.
Junior. Hello, Rebel, and Tabby. Well,
I love
thanks
it.
for having me back. You invited me back today, and we're back. We're here as and based on your question, why did Naasón, as a married man, as a person that we considered as a man of God, and him at the end of the day, he declared himself guilty of three.
Hombre de fe, hombre de Dios.
At the end of the day, he considered himself guilty to three violations, right?
Right.
Well, to me, they were never man of God, right? They were really not the man of God that we believe they were. They were men that were put a facade in front of our faces, and we believed, and we dedicated our lives into believing that in this world we needed a man of God to guide us to God, right? We needed somebody to bypass Jesus Christ our Lord and lead us to God, right? So that was our belief, and we believe in this man. At first, in my time it was Samuel, and then the later days it was Naasón, and we put our 100% of our faith into these men that turned into being men that were that were not men of faith. They used faith and religion to do what they did. I mean, to commit crimes and
power.
And at the end of the day, they were unfaithful men. Not only to themselves, they were unfaithful to not only to the people they guide, but to themselves. They themselves lied to themselves, and put themselves in a pedestal.
Oh, we lost him. Device is not connected.
We
He's
lost them. Se
I know.
cayó. Se cayó.
Uh,
Well,
I think Junior we lost Junior too, but I'll put him back on as soon as they hop back in. Um,
okay.
but you know what? He's so true. It's how they they give themselves that power. Se dieron ese poder de decir, soy hombre de Dios. Y curiosamente, rebelde, curiosamente, ¿cómo fue que él empezó a dar esas explicaciones de que si se iba a ir a la cárcel? Eso no fue curiosidad. That was
No.
that was pre-prepared.
Sí.
He knew he had it coming. Here's the part that I think is crazy, is that knowingly, and people would already, ya le había dicho ¿cómo se llama? Alondra le había dicho que ya habían hablando muchachas en Reddit de lo que iban a hacer, y todavía tuvo el descaro de creerse tan poderoso este hombre, de venirse a Los Ángeles como que si nada, como que si, oh, they're not going to dare do anything to me. You know
Así
what I
es.
mean?
Ujú. Sí.
Isn't it crazy, Leroy, how he thought it was invisible, that no one was ever going to do into him, and he had the audacity to go into this country, and boom, they arrest him. It's like there's only so much you can fool God, where God says, "So un Dios fuerte y celoso," and I'm done. And it took time, but it happened.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the day, he believed that it was an all fall just the way it felt with his grandfather and with his dad, and
Yeah.
he believed that he did not understand the difference was his grandfather and his dad were arrested, and well, his grandfather was arrested. His dad did not come to the arrest, but he um he
He
was
was in Mexico
but he
and he
was
was able
accused,
to get
right?
out.
And my point is that they were in Mexico,
Yeah.
and the difference was he was accused in the United States, not in Mexico, and the
Exactly.
rules felt different based him being arrested in United States. And then if I mean, there's so much things that we could talk about why he didn't get out, and he believed he was going to get out, but we understand based on the way the trial went why he did not. He wasn't granted bail. Well, he was granted bail, but at a very high bail, and we know why. There's a lot of more points to it than just a simple answer to that. But that's what he believed. He believed he could
Right.
just walk out just the way his grandfather walked out, just the way his dad walked out, and that's why he stood up in Guadalajara and on his birthday, and then the day after his birthday, saying that, what if I have to go to another country? What if I have to go and disappear to an island? Are you
Right.
still gonna follow me? Are you still gonna be with me?
Oh
And
yeah.
what did everyone exclaim?
Amen.
Amen. Gloria a Cristo. And you know, and why he knew that, why he said that, like you say, Alondra already had whispered in his ear and told him, hey, this is what's going on. But at the end of the day, he felt that he was above
He felt he was
God,
God. He
and,
thought he was invisible.
and he thought he would just walk out, just like
Right.
his grandfather did, and his dad walked out. But
Here's the crazy part, guys. I want to share, is that when they did that high bail of I think it was like $90 million, right? The church had the money. And I had with Carlos Reyes talk to a dear friend of mine that Junior knows. His name is Jose Espinosa. He's a bail bondsman in the whole state of California. And
I was just gonna bring him up. Yeah.
yeah, and he gave a special on Luis Carlos Reyes podcast, and he said, "What do you need to do to bail someone with that much of a high bail?" And he said, it's not as easy as collecting the money, because all they needed was $90,000, which the church already had to bail him out. But you also have to show him, as a bail bond explained that and said, you need to show the bank that's going, the bail bonds people, they're not rich. They have to borrow this money from a bank. So what they need to do is they need to show some kind of equity that the $90 million worth of properties of some sort or bank accounts of some sort, and for the church to come up with $90 million worth of properties, it's difficult. One, it could be done because with the church, they would do anything to get him out. But here's the thing. Then the IRS gets involved with these people and say, where did you get all this money? So it wasn't as easy And so I'm sure them that knew attorneys and had attorneys, and they told them, no les conviene que hagan eso porque los van a investigar. ¿De dónde sacaron tanto dinero? So they couldn't do it. They needed to show proof of that equity of the $90 million. Not only with the $90,000 is the money that they needed to bail him out, but the money that the bank lends the bail bondsman for that money, that's the part that's hard to do. So
it wasn't 90,000; it's 900,000.
Exactly, you're right. It's 900,000. Yeah, you're right.
10%.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know, but I know.
It's also too, como dijo Leroy, the flight risk. That's why they did it so high. Por eso lo hicieron tan alto, porque sabían que si no lo hacían alto, se larga. Y Dios no lo quiera que salga, que no creo, pero si sale, todos sabemos que se va a ir. He's gonna leave. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? It's never made a difference. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, no matter how much we share all these actual facts to these people, like they'll never rely on that to base their beliefs on. And for certain people, though, and thankfully we've been able to reach out to certain people that know and understand and want to see these facts put in front of them. Because I mean, in my family, we've had people that have been satisfied with these, findings that were made when all this stuff came about, and like that was enough for them. But for some people, it's not enough, and that's the part that puzzles me, and I just don't get it. But I do see it occur in my family how also there are people that, like I said, we're satisfied with all these findings, and it's not too many of them. But the ones that aren't, like I'm puzzled by how. Like, are you not intelligent enough to decipher all this and put all these facts together and make a decision on your own? What keeps you going there? And then, but then, like, I think there's different levels of people that are still going to that church that have their different reasons. Some of them may be forced. Some other people may just, I hate to talk down on people, maybe don't have that intellect to be able to put those things together and figure that stuff out for themselves. And then I also feel that there's also people that are victims of things that have occurred in that church to them by dirty pastors and stuff, and they'd rather not put their go up against them. And then I think there's also a whole nother layer of people that are involved in all the dirty stuff, whether they're pastors or not. They could be related to them, married into them, or just super friendly with them. And so there's different reasons and people that are there for different purposes, I think. And as puzzling as that may seem to me, I'm, like I said earlier to Rebelde, I'm happy that this forum here that Kevin and my mother and everybody else are starting to put together here is creating a place where you can kind of share those like-minded experiences to kind of help other people get out of that bubble that they think that they're only in. Trust me, a lot of us bursted out of that bubble a long time ago, and we're mingling with each other, and I'm happy that you guys are creating a support system, and to be able to verbalize the things that got you to be where you're at today, to believe that the things that you believe now that is never going to allow you to go back to something that you probably knew was wrong your whole life. Some people didn't, some people like Rebelde, she was saying, she was devout to the very end almost, and there was a little things and stuff like that.
Leroy was the same.
Leroy, yeah. I haven't heard much of Leroy's. I might have on and off, but I listen to so many podcasts.
I had him in two parts of podcasts, and he has a lot to say. And
on your podcast, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's like I said, there's levels to the people that left this, but there's always some kind of common ground. I think we can all find once we get here. And I want to share this with you guys is finding that peace, and I hope you guys draw that from my mom's energy as she gives off. My mom's never been a very like a mean-hearted person. Like, you got to leave those things behind, and being bitter isn't going to get you nowhere. And so all you can do is build up your life after you left there and prove these people wrong. Prove them by being successful and doing the things that you do, and showing them that your life doesn't crumble when you leave that place. Right. We're all doing great. My mom, I was raised us to be, do very well. After, we left that church, I had my own struggles because I was the oldest, the oldest kid. I like my little sister said, I was like the first pancake. It always comes out, you gotta practice with that one. The second one comes out better, and then the third one's the bomb. But regardless of all that, I've managed to keep myself together through my mom and her positive energy. My mom's not like a mean person. She's never thrown a punch. She's not a person that barely cusses. She says fudge a lot. But so I mean, her energy is genuine, and so
Yeah.
there was times when I was like, man, how the heck did my mom keep it together, even after I put her through a lot of stuff. But that's her true faith in God, and we both believe differently now, and religiously, on a
Yes.
religious level and everything. Like she believes one thing and I believe another, but she's super respectful of me, and that's one thing another thing I want to extend out to people is that as people leave the church, people are going to have different beliefs and break off, and some
And we
people
have to
lose their
respect
complete, yeah, some people lose their complete faith in God in the way that they were shown when they were growing up, and people are going to come out and like I always say to myself, like when I left, it's like I threw everything out the window and I was ready to start all over. Like I look into everything now. Like I do want to believe in like a God, an energy, or something, some kind of entity out there that interacts with us and probably created us. But then, man, I'm always, I'm off the wall. Like I'm always wondering about aliens and everything else, creation in general. But and that's something that we have to respect because a lot of people do leave church, and a lot of people get criticized, even amongst people within our own ex-member community. Like, oh my God, they really went off the deep end. We shouldn't be there to judge them because we already went through that in La Luz del Mundo. And
And
I mean that'll make
that's
a
the thing is, your tia Mali, she always tells me, don't hate them, don't get mad at them. We were like that before, and that's what we have to do. Leroy, what are your thoughts on that? Especially in the spirituality. How do you feel about that? Did it take you a while after you got out to get back on track with your spiritual life, or how did you go through that? How did you manage that actually?
it was hard for me
Well, I
because
said in our
Leroy.
you're asking me or you're asking
Oh, Leroy. I'm asking you, Leroy.
Junior?
oh Leroy,
All right,
yeah,
okay.
that's Leroy. You know my
Okay,
story.
Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it in the podcast
With Kevin.
with Kevin and we talked about we touched that we that we came from when we came to the Luz del Mundo. I was young, but we came from other churches. My mom was looking for many other churches. So when I got out, or when my spirit actually went right back to that time when we were not in the Luz del Mundo. So I started reflecting back at those days and times that we went and visit the Pentecostals and the Baptists and the and the Presbyterians and so on and so on. And I started reflecting back and saying, wait, not only in the Luz del Mundo they received the Holy Spirit, but my mom received it over at the Pentecost church.
That's a
And
great
then
reminder. That's a
and
great
then
reminder.
we worship God in the Luz del Mundo a certain way, but when we went to these other churches, they also worship God in their own way, but we felt the same feeling because at the end of the day, God is everywhere. He's
Exactly.
We can say he's at the Luz del Mundo. He's
Yeah.
in the Pentecostal church. It's in and me leaving the Light of the World church. I believe now, God lives in each and every one of us.
Amen.
Each and every one carries their own belief, and we can get close to God based on our own belief. And that's how, no matter what church you're in, as long as you get close to God, God will come and be with
Amen.
you, and you will feel His presence, you will feel His glory, you will feel His warmth, and that's, for me, it's anywhere. I'm out, and wherever I'm at, I I listen to gospel music, I listen to songs of worship, and it takes me there. It takes me to have those feelings, to start praising God and thanking God for all the stuff that we have, or the things that we have every day after day in our lives, or for
Yeah.
us to wake up every morning, to us to go to sleep every morning, for us to have our children, and also meet great people out here. I've met you, Miss Sister Tabby. I met Rebel. I know I never met Junior. I've heard him in different podcasts, but I know, through, but I met a lot of other people that we all left, and then those others that I already knew, I got to re-meet, but in a different side and a different level in spirituality, or in some do. And I respect everyone. Like I said, we all respect. We must just come here and in a platform and speak
Yes.
who we are, and I
Yeah.
respect anybody's beliefs. We believe.
Right.
I respect Junior's beliefs. I respect your beliefs, Tabby, and Rebels.
Yeah.
I got a question I want to throw out there. Just, I've always wondered this, especially for people that have recently left. Like, do you ever feel? And I felt like this for a long time because we left a long time ago. But I interact with a lot of people outside the church. I know that a lot of people, when you're in the church, you only interact with people in church, and probably the only people you're friends with. And I know some people do interact with other people, but do you ever felt that, like, a genuine presence of what you guys would call like God or God's peace in people that don't go to our church, that are, they're not just Christians? And let's not think of just Christians, because Christians is broken up in denominations. But like where I live in Sacramento, there's Muslims, there's Hindu people, there's people that are of all these other religions that are not Christ based. Do you ever feel that? And did that kind of expand your love for just wanting to know the rest of the world outside of La Luz del Mundo, now that you're out? Like, you ever feel that, like, man, that person really carries that peace within them? You guys ever feel that for other people? Like that genuine, like their own peace within their own religion?
Um, some of the people, yes, and I'm gonna say for myself, I don't go to any religion because of um the way I was raised, and
Mm-hmm.
listening to other men lie up on um like the ministers, lying
Yeah,
to you and about this and about that, and that's one thing that I just don't trust anymore. And
yeah,
I do like the way the Catholics go about their religion, because they do believe in Jesus Christ. They don't put somebody else there, and like they put Jesus Christ and they put the mother of Jesus Christ. And I respect them very much, um because they, like it's a lot of them, and they've always been, like believing in Jesus and in Mary, even if they have other beliefs and deep secrets but all the religions out there, to me, they're just not. I don't know. I can't trust any other. But I see other people that have gone to other churches, like I think Exicum, he became a Catholic, and
yeah.
so I see how he's devoted and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's good, like
That is,
everybody
yeah.
can, yeah, everybody can have, you know their own beliefs and stuff, and they live peaceful and with no drama, no nothing, like pedir diezmos y que ofrendas y que ahora para esto y que ahora para el otro. No, hell no.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
yeah.
we
Uh,
were talking
I
about the 30. Go ahead, Leroy.
I was gonna just respond to Junior's question.
Hmm.
Uh, in my family, Junior, I have aunts and uncles that never belong to the Light of the World Church, and not only that, they have never in my life I've known them. I live with them. Growing up, they never belonged to no domination, and they're the most beautiful persons that I know. Will give their shirt off their back. My uncles, my aunts will give their shirt off their back, help anybody, lend a hand to anybody, even if they don't. I have never seen them follow religion. They have never followed religion, but they do believe that what I see is they put their faith in in not in God, but in a celestial being, because I never heard them say to God or to Jesus. They just say that they thank the 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 world, the life, for the life that they live in, the things that they have. But the way
Right.
that they conduct themselves in their life, I have they they're the most beautiful people. My aunts and uncles, I have cousins that do not belong to no religion, and there are some beautiful people that don't belong nowhere. They don't even, then when they come to me, they're like, when it came to us and our family, we were the religious ones. We belonged,
Right.
and they always told us, "You belong to a cult." They always told us that, but we
Right.
never. We
Yeah.
always we, al-
Right.
we always put our fences up, our little guard up, and no,
Right.
we believe in God, and they're like, well, for us, there's a celestial being, but we have a life, and but saying to you, Junior, there is beautiful people out there that do not follow religion, but
I agree 100%.
they do beautiful things in the world for each one of us.
Hey,
Yeah,
Leroy,
man.
and Rebelde, I need to say something, and it's going to be very short, but I'm going to say this. So this week we lost a really wonderful human being on one of my family members down in San Diego. I'm not going to get the name because I'm respecting it, right? But both the couple, the wife passed away maybe like 6 months ago, and then the dad
I'm
died. I
sorry.
think it was day before yesterday. The grandpas of my nieces and nephews, and the most wonderful, wonderful couple that you can ever think of. When my brother passed away, and back in '89, he took my sister-in-law in with all her 5 kids, and she was pregnant from another baby with another baby. And so, but he took them in unconditionally, gave them roof, food. I mean, he gave them in a church. He was there for their birthdays. I posted something on Facebook about it, and they were la luz del mundo. Yet they had the biggest heart, like you're saying, Leroy. And for me, I'm going to see that couple in heaven. I definitely are, because if I earn my path to heaven. But I'm just saying, this couple was not la luz del mundo. I never saw them de rodillas ni en la iglesia católica. I think they proclaimed that they were Catholic, but I'm not sure if they probably were. But anyway, they had, if you talk about una pareja santa, llena de amor, llena de cariño. Wow, Junior can attest to that, and I pray to God that our family members that are still going there, that they believe that even though their grandpa, their dad did not go to La Luz Mundo, their souls will be saved. We are no one to judge because they weren't from La Luz del Mundo. They're going to go to hell, because I know they're not. Their actions speak louder than words. And they
Right.
are definitely, and like you guys said, son personas que bárbaro, tienen un corazonzote que les pone ejemplo a cualquier otra persona religiosa. And I'm not even going to say la luz del mundo, because there's a lot of other religions that proclaim they're good and they're not.
Y la gente de la luz del mundo, like my mother, siempre decía, ay no, qué lástima, se fueron al infierno por no creer en el hermoso.
El
Like,
ungido de elección. That's it.
oh my God,
That,
these people
yeah,
are just, they're
that's
crazy.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, me personally, I've never been able to get over that notion that they have that somebody that may be close to you, no matter how great they are, they may have not hurt nobody, they may have not even touched a little boy or little girl like Naasón did, is not gonna go to heaven. I don't
Like
get
my
it.
dad.
I've never
Yeah.
said like my dad, like your dad, my grandpa. Like what the heck, man? Like I just don't get it. I've
Yeah.
seen I've
Yeah.
I've seen worse people in my life be treated better in that church while I've known them, and I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm not gonna name names, but like in our family, there's a reason why I was raised. Why when I was being raised and growing up, I didn't feel the fanaticism that everybody else did, because growing up and you see that you're part of one of these elite families, and like you guys hear about all these Joaquin kids and all these other pastors' kids doing the things that they do. I've seen a lot of that crazy stuff, and even like we were nobody in my family was a holy roller, but when somebody passes away, oh, they're gonna give you the honra. Oh, when you're gonna get married, depending on who you are, you're gonna get the honra. You're gonna get married in church. Certain people didn't, certain like in my family, some people just didn't care. They got married in the parking lot of East LA church, but it's crazy. Like depending on who you know and who whatever, but it's like you're gonna get hooked up at that church, and it's crazy that there's a like a crazy wishy-washy understanding of who goes to heaven, who deserves to be treated correctly in that church. It's a lot of politics. It's a lot of politics in that church, and that's why I could never get into it. Me and Rebelde were talking about that earlier, like I was mentioning about how devoted she was. And I never got like that. I just couldn't. Even as a kid, growing up and seeing my family, do the things that they did, and then but we're an elite family, and there's a lot more to it. And so, like when I was talking about it earlier, it's like there's people that still stay in that church because they're still very devout and they really believe in God. I do know a lot of really good Christians in that church. I love them. I'll never speak ill of them. They got great kids. I still communicate with a bunch of them. So a lot of the kids don't believe the things that their parents believe anymore because they've got these more progressive minds, thankfully. But it's a sad little system they got there. It's like their own little ecosystem. It's almost like a dog eat dog world ecosystem where they all the top feeds out the bottom, and that's the way it is. But it's a weird system they got going on there, and I can never wrap my mind around it. And for everybody where it starts to get difficult towards the end when you're transitioning, trying to leave that church, and you start to encounter that, you start to notice those things, and it becomes kind of too much for some people to leave that church sometimes because they're kind of drawn between all those worlds.
Right.
Well, yeah, there is a world outside of that, and like Leroy said, there's some great people outside of church. We about our Long Beach family, that family doesn't even go to that church. I see them every weekend posting stuff on Facebook, hanging out. They get together for whatever reason, for no reason. They just get together, and it's unconditional love. Unconditional love that they give to each other. It's not like based on the fact whether you go to a church or who do you talk to. You talk to them or you don't talk to them. That's messed up. To think of that, that's horrible. I've learned to make the best of what I have after I left the church, which is of all my friends that I've made outside of my family. So my mom could tell you, she raised us to be real close to our friends. That's all we got. We had after we left church, and I tell all my friends when I see them getting together, they all invite us to their gatherings. I got my real good friend Christina, and I've been to more of her family's funerals than my own family funerals. And when I get together with them, and I'm almost coming to tears right now thinking about this because it kills me to think that they accept me more than my own family, and they love me, and they're like, man, thanks for coming. They love me. All her tias, they love me. I'm their nephew, and it's like I've had to create this whole nother family, but I'm okay with that because it fills that void, and everybody else that leaves the church, you got to be okay with filling those voids. Don't feel like, oh man, I don't got a mom. Trust me, there's other people out there, and you should be okay with that. And one example I always say is like, don't ever feel like you should be forced to love your blood. Because sometimes your blood could be poisonous, man. It could be the most toxic thing you could ever encounter in your life. And
about that.
Go ahead.
Let me interrupt you. Talking about that, the love for the family is first. Of course God, right? But at en la secta.
Habla español si quieres, hija, si te gusta también.
Sí, I'm gonna speak Spanglish. En la secta, cuando mi hermana se iba a casar, yo me acuerdo que ella me invitó pues a que fuéramos pues y que le pusiera pues las flores en la iglesia católica. Y yo estaba todavía en la secta y yo me ponía nerviosa porque decía yo, ¿y ahora cómo le voy a hacer? Porque pues supuestamente uno no debe de estar yendo a la iglesia católica para un evento, para un bautizo, ¿verdad? Entonces estuve yo platicando con una persona que estaba media tibia en la secta y estaba diciendo, tú puedes ir, nomás no estés hincada y no estés haciendo oración allá adentro. Y dije yo, bueno, pues entonces voy a ir, porque como soy rebelde, pues yo voy a ir como de lugar, porque es mi hermana, y chingue su madre quien no esté de acuerdo con que yo vaya allá. a la boda.
Ujú.
Y sí fui y lo publiqué, que yo estaba allá adentro y toda la cosa. Y mucha gente me miraba a mí como diciendo, ay, la hermana esa se fue a la boda de su hermana y estuvo adentro de la iglesia católica. ¿Y qué? ¿Y qué tiene?
Okay, right. Porque
¿Verdad?
fue lo que te hacen.
Pero yo estaba allí para acompañar a mi hermana, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
O sea, y ahora, digo yo, bueno, pues, ¿verdad? O sea, yo no estaba haciendo nada malo, ¿verdad? Porque pues lo que sí estaba haciendo lo malo era hincarme ante el altar donde decía Naasón Joaquín. Allí sí estaba yo mal, porque ese sí era idolatría. Adelante.
Qué erróneo el título que le pusieron, su tiempo ha llegado, mi tiempo ha llegado. What do you think about that, Leroy? About the sign, su tiempo ha llegado. That's amazing, huh?
Yep. Yep.
I think we lost him maybe. Okay, so he's not responding. But yeah, that's true. I have to say though that in regards to tengo que decir en cuestión de la familia, yo he perdido mucha familia, pero he ganado mucha familia. Como ustedes, como Leroy, su esposa, tú,
Sí.
mija,
Yep.
tantas personas, Saraí, tantas personas, Héctor, tantas personas que en sus canales que hemos estado platicando, tenemos días de tristeza, hay grupitos que estamos nosotros que son grupitos de apoyo, que nos consolamos, que estoy malita, hasta nos hacemos oración. Es algo tan bonito que hay gente que ni siquiera conozcas y que te quiera más incondicionalmente que tu propia familia de sangre. It's so
Ándale.
sad, but
Así.
it's so
Ujú.
true. Fíjate, mija,
Yep.
yo he dado el testimonio, y no sé si Junior me ha escuchado, pero yo he dado el testimonio de que yo siempre tenía miedo de entrar a una iglesia católica, siempre. Le tenía terror porque así me enseñaban. Sin
Sí,
embargo,
a mí
niños
también.
de Junior se han creado en una escuela privada católica. Y cuando me invitó su niña a su primera comunión, dije, oh no, I can't do it. Todavía no estaba yendo a los del mundo, ya estaba fuera. Fue antes del arresto de Naasón, pero todavía ese temor
Yeah, I
que te
remember
meten,
that.
ese temor que te meten, you know, hijo,
Sí,
y que voy viendo a mi chiquilla entrando con sus manitas así, su vestido blanco. I started crying. I'm going, wow,
She
you know,
stayed the whole time.
beautiful
She ended up
thing.
staying the whole rest of the time.
It's
sí,
a beautiful thing. And then escuchando the priest explicando lo que estaban haciendo, qué era el acto que estaban haciendo, es igual que la Santa Cena. Es igualito, el vino, la
sí,
hostia. They just call it la hostia, acá le llaman el pan, it's the same thing. Same thing.
sí,
It's like,
sí, claro que sí.
pero te
Y
tienen traumado
sí,
de que no puedes entrar en una iglesia católica porque es pecado.
sí,
Es
yo
peor
sé.
pecado hacer lo que están haciendo tantas personas que le están tapando a Naasón, lo que Naasón hizo, y que muchos de la cúpula están tapándole y mintiéndole a la Grey. ¿Por qué no le dicen a la Grey? Vean, edúquense y ya deciden ustedes si quieren quedar o no. You know,
¿Verdad?
why
Sí.
don't they tell them that? Don't you think, Leroy, that they should have that option of saying, you know, giving them that freedom of saying, you know what, el que nada debe nada teme, go in there and find out what's out there. What are they afraid of? I want to know what are the ministers afraid of that they prohibit the members to see? I've always said this, and I challenge, especially my family members, is reto a mi familia y a mi familia, a mis amigos que todavía están en el mundo, los reto a que se metan a las redes sociales. Si la luz del mundo, la cúpula, te está diciendo que no lo hagas, es porque algo están escondiendo. Punto y se
Sí,
acabó.
claro
Es como
que sí.
you know what I mean? It's like, I've always used that example that if they tell you, you know, oh, your husband's cheating on you, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm like, come on, proof. Let me see. It's that easy.
Sí, it's como dice Chimoltrufia, it's ironic how we hated the Catholic Church, but yet we never knew how similar LDM wanted to be like the Catholic Church. And it's true, because desde antes todo el tiempo envidiaban pues a la Iglesia Católica y siempre nos decían pues que, ay, que los idólatras y que mira y que esto, y look at us now. Wow, look
Yeah.
at the secta now. you know, like.
¿Te acuerdas, mija, que le decían al Papa la bestia, la luz del mundo?
Oh, sí.
Qué
Yeah.
palabra tan fea, qué bárbaro. ¿Hasta dónde bestia es Naasón
Y qué falta de respeto cuando
Exacto.
dijo Saraí que se murió el Papa y ellos cantando allá afuera en la plaza, cantos de triunfo. I'm like, what? O sea, qué falta de respeto, qué poca madre tienen, porque, o sea, es, you know, when Samuel died, they never did that.
Right.
They never said, "Oh,
We never
yeah."
Hold on,
we never saw the
this is
Catholic
happening
Church.
at the recent death of the recent Pope? This was
Yes.
the most recent Pope?
Yeah.
No.
Wow, I'm blown away by that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You would think they would just be chill right now after all the stuff they've gone through.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's off the hook. I can't believe that.
Yes. Yeah. Entonces, what we were saying, Tabby, es que, ¿por qué si Naasón es inocente y le están haciendo todo este complot y el deep fake, los videos y todo? Entonces, ¿por qué no fregados they sue the HBO, they sue la Univision, Telemundo, todos los que han estado allí poniendo cosas? ¿Por qué no los demandan entonces?
¿Por qué no los demandan? Exacto.
Tienen tanto dinero según para pagar los abogados.
O la tecnología de poder ellos desmentirlos. Especialmente, lo curioso fue que los abogados de Naasón nunca dijeron que los videos eran deepfake. La iglesia, la cúpula preparó a la iglesia, me acuerdo cuando recién empezó todo esto, de que todo era deepfake. Hasta les dieron un estudio en las iglesias educando lo que era deepfake. Okay, well, what happened? Did you guys get those videos? Agarraron esos videos que enseña el video que sacó HBO. ¿Lo pueden ustedes comprobar que es deepfake? Es más, dijo Joel Silva en unos de sus pláticas que tuvo con nosotros, o fue con Saraí, que él preguntó y les preguntó a los abogados, hey, o no, más bien a uno de los documentales, él preguntó y dijo, were you guys able to confirm if they were real or not? And they go, oh yeah, they did. Because again, HBO y todos los otros canales, pero HBO fue el que sacó ese video, ellos no pueden sacar algo que sea deepfake, porque imagina la demanda, siendo un network tan grandote, la demanda que recibirían de la luz del mundo. ¿Por qué nos han demandado con ese video solamente? What do you think about that, Leroy?
Leroy.
Where are you? He's not on mute.
Leroy.
He might be fixing his tire. He might be fixing his hot tire. Yeah, but what do you think about that, Mija? It's crazy how they never did anything.
No, they haven't done that because they haven't been able to. Por eso están miente a los members, you know. And entonces, another thing that I saw a podcast de dos jovencitos. It might have been a while back, but I just barely saw it. And they were taking out all the red flags, todas las banderas rojas de las mentiras, ¿verdad? La primera decían que Charín y Xochitl tienen todo este dinero y les pagaron al Becerra, le pagaron a los abogados para que pusieran esto y que esto, que el otro. And I was like, really? Like, I don't know if they're that rich and powerful como el presidente de Estados Unidos, que el presidente de Estados Unidos ni siquiera puede sacar a Naasón de ahí. I mean, he can't. So, I mean, are they that powerful to pagarles y decirles eso? No, es que I've heard people say, no, es que el Becerra es pariente de Xochitl y por eso, y ella le pagó un dinero y que le dijo que esto y que el otro, y luego iban a dar las micas de inmigración para que vinieran y dijeran, pues, ¿verdad? Y contaran historias de mentiras.
I hear the stories that my family members tell each other, and it just boggles my
Yeah,
mind,
I
the
heard that.
stories that they make up, and it's just crazy. It's just yeah.
No, no, no.
I got a
Um,
call coming in. I'm gonna let you guys real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna just put my camera on mute, and then you guys can continue talking. I'll be right back. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And another thing that I they were asking me, people that still go, but they're like, que todavía de como como que todavía no están creyendo, y están como un pie adentro y un pie afuera, y dicen, ¿por qué no? ¿Por qué no se aparece esta alma y empieza a decirle a la iglesia? ¿Y por qué no se para a Doraín a decir lo que está pasando? Y así, si se quieren quedar, pues se queden, pero que no los dejen así. Pero dicen que no dicen nada, nada ahí en las congregaciones, nada. Entonces, pues es que no les conviene. Ya le dije yo a esta amiga que no les conviene, pero pues ni modo. Junior, Leroy.
Yeah, the conspiracies are just so widespread. Depends who you're talking to because you see the communications that go on publicly and all that, and then but when you sit down and talk to different individuals, it's like everybody has a different story. Nobody's been fed the same thing, and nobody has the same
No.
idea of what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's almost like the same thing with their whole with the doctrina. You know what I mean? The doctrina is like, como dicen, it's a what do you call it? A mutant doctrina
Sí.
Hmm.
where it morphs all the time and like it changes. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like everything. Yeah, nobody's on the same boat. Nobody believes the same thing. A while I live not too far from the La Luz del Mundo church here in my neighborhood, and there's a bunch of little taqueria stands that open up late on the weekends here in Sacramento. And I've actually ran into multiple people from the church. And it's funny because now my woman knows that I'm not that I'm confrontational, but I'm always gonna like try to like, hey, how you doing? And I this is my thing. I'm gonna just tell you straight up. And I always walk up to the hermanas and I tell them, man, le digo en español, le digo, hey, digo, esa falda larga me recuerdan a mis tías. And then they go, you're right. Oh, sí, oh, sí. Yeah, son de una iglesia, son aleluyas. And oh, wow. See,
Oh yeah, I
ustedes son
remember that.
no, and I tell them like this. This is my always my way to start a conversation. And I'm different. You gotta understand. My mom's super chill and nice and all that. Like
I
me, I don't know
sometimes have
where
to
they.
shut him up.
I don't know where I don't know where I came from. Sometimes
My
I think they
dad.
switch babies. Anyhow, so I sit there and I mess with them and I'm like, hey, so what church are you from? De qué iglesia son? Oh, somos de una iglesia de la luz del mundo. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, se me hace que de ahí son mi familia. Y los digo, oh, wow. And then I start the conversation about the church. No sé la iglesia donde están al señor ese. And they're like, oh, sí. And then I always tell them, oh, okay. And every once in a while, I'll start a little conversation just to find out what happened with that stuff. And, I don't know, man. I've encountered people where they start to talk to me about it. I was like, hey, what's going on with that? Is he going to be okay or that? And I don't tell them who I am except for like one person I actually did tell them because they kind of were catching on to it. And I told them, I was like, oh, usted se me hace conocido. And the lady was like, oh, I think you too. You look like this lady that used to go to our church. And she recognized me and she knew that I looked like my mom. I don't know if you can tell from my picture. I kind of look like my mom. But she was like, oh, yeah. It's like, salúdame tu mamá. And that, todo eso, but I wasn't disrespectful. But I was like, les deseo lo mejor. That's all I can say,
Yeah.
to these people. You know what I mean? It's like, I hope you guys, are cool. And at one time, one person got a little bit combative towards me. And she was like, well, what did you want to say to me? And I was like, oh, nothing. I was like, I just, hope you guys are doing okay. And, everything you guys are being told at church, is true. You guys, I actually asked her, like, do they allow you guys to, like, go online and figure out what's going on? And she
Right.
was like, well, we don't, we just know that, it's we're, a plot up against them. And, that was at the time when they were talking
Their
about it was
answer,
that
so their answer is no tengo que hacerlo porque yo sé en lo que he creído. That's their answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's their answer. It's like right there. It tells you that their freedom of doing anything. It's just they're afraid of the unknown. Is what it is too. They really are afraid of the unknown. It's like
Yes.
I just wish I had one of my nieces come up and visit Rebelde like a month ago. She's named after me,
Okay.
Tabitha,
Yes.
and she is my oldest brother daughter, and she is one smart cookie. I have to say though, all my brothers are smart cookies, but again, the ones that have that self, I should say self strength to say I'm gonna see. Again, what I was saying is before is if they tell you not to see, that's when you go. La curiosidad mata al gato, and you're going, I
Sí.
want to see now. I want to see
Mhm.
what they're telling me not to see. So then
Yeah.
she called me right after the girls gave their testimony and the day of the sentencing, and she said, Tia, I believe you now. I heard it, and she cried through the whole thing. And amongst those
Oh.
5 girls was one of my nieces that you and I've talked about. And she said, I just can't. I'm boggled by all this, but I now know that all this is true. And the next day, Mija, she went and said, no more long skirts. She let it all go. She
Oh
said, no
yeah.
more
I
long
was the
skirts.
same
She
too.
got her earrings on. She put earrings on her little girl, and she said, I'm done. And then it's
Yeah.
not that she did it as a rebel thing. She did it more as a, I'm not going to let someone control me anymore. This is something that I've been wanting to do all my life, but I can't because it was a sin. And now I know it's not a sin. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a
Right.
lot
statement.
of people que lo hacemos por rebeldía, pero no lo hacemos por rebeldía, lo hacemos porque we're free. We're free.
Yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
Same.
You know?
Kimotruvia has a question for Junior.
Uh-huh.
Que have she felt the members feel shame about their leader? Como que se avergüenzan pues del gordito. Oh, se cayó.
Oh, it says,
Pero,
question for Junior. Have felt the members feel shame? What have members feel shame about their leader? Oh, you know what's funny? Want to hear something really crazy? I'll put it back on. What's really funny is in he lives really close to the church because he doesn't live in the ghetto, but the church is in the ghetto, like it's always in all the churches, right? but Junior, so Jimmy Fruga had a question about you, was saying, how do you feel about the members feeling ashamed of their leader? Junior, you remember when
They haven't.
they arrested Naasón? What did they do in the church in Sacramento? Remember that big
Oh,
old
when they took
sign?
down the sign, yeah, they took it down. Well, so it's
Then
gone
why
through
did
its
it out
phases.
with white paint? They didn't
I've
take it down.
documented. I've documented the transition of this church that's gone through. So let me just tell you this. I'll explain to you while it's fresh in my head. So right away in the beginning, they had a picture of him on the sign. Then they took it down and they just put up the emblem, right, with the logo, the monogram of his initials. And then they just completely took the whole sign down because that was in the midst of the whole case, right? Because I think they were. It was easy at that point. It was easier for you to just Google the name and the church and all that, right? And so they thought that would just kind of make it less obvious of who they were. So then eventually, when the dude got convicted, I got pictures of this. When he got convicted, they took the whole banner off the sign, and then at some point, up until very recently, they went through a whole remodeling of the church, and they on that little area where they put banners of their sign and what the church is. Now it's in English instead of saying La Luz del Mundo and his picture or anything that would be easy for you to Google. Now it says, was it the initials for the light of the world? So now they're trying to change and put on this front
Right.
of like an
LOL.
English church, because I'm sure that if you Google the light of the world, it's probably less obvious, and you're gonna find less things linked to that or whatever. But it's not. It's funny. I see it. I don't know. I think too much. I think too much, and I just think deeper. Maybe some people drive by and they're like, "Oh well, they got a new sign." I'm not that guy. I'm like, man, what are they doing? I'm always thinking a step ahead.
Yeah.
So I'm very analytical. I watch a lot of true crime stuff and stuff like that. And
Yeah, and
yeah,
now
sure.
they are ashamed. They are, because now they have like signs up there in English, everything in English, and we're the ministries of blah blah blah, and the religious community and blah blah blah.
And
I'm
no
like,
pictures of Naasón anywhere, that's for sure. Hey, I do want
Yeah.
to say something, and I know that this was going to be a mix of everything. I really like this, but como sierva de los, me encanta tus comentarios, mija. I love what you're saying, and I want to tell you something. I want to tell this to all my fellow female friends that have left, and I should say it's a sisterhood. Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. If everybody's seen that movie, it's a good movie. I was going to say we are a sisterhood, okay, of ex-LDMs.
yes,
It's okay to wear long skirts because you can wear whatever you want. I'll tell
yeah,
you something though. The other day I went to a store and I buy a lot of my clothes at Lane Bryant because I'm chunky monkey. And I saw they had a really nice jean skirt. I went and tried it on. Oh my gosh, Mika. I put it on and I took it off so fast. And I said to myself, oh no, 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 no. Me dan ñañaras. It's like, no, I cannot do this to myself. It was
that's
just something.
yeah.
I took them off right away. I just felt so uncomfortable. I could wear long
Me
dresses,
too.
but there's
Yeah.
something about the jean skirts that everybody wore. And yes, they're very comfortable, but I'd rather wear a pair of jean pants than jean skirt. That's
Oh
just
my God! Talking
it's
about jean skirts.
uh-huh.
Efrain Hernandez, he was in a church, and he would condemn everybody who would go walk into the church,
Uh-huh.
the cult, with
Uh-huh.
a jean skirt. He said, "¿Qué falta de respeto es eso de estar entrando al templo con una falda de mezclilla y
But
luego
the guys
toda
could do it. But the
apretada
guys
y
could
que
do
no
it.
sé qué?"
That's what's crazy.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy. The things that they try to control us with, right? That's what's crazy is how they controlled us in doing things and doing in like who was I? Oh, I was talking to one of my friends earlier. She's an ex-LDMer, and she was telling me that her parents, thank God, left the church to La Luz del Mundo, and they like to play cards on the weekends. And I go, oh, I play cards with my neighbors all the time. And she goes, oh, I don't know how to play cards, but I want to learn. And I said, I remember that it was a sin to play cards. Even my dad,
yep.
because he was raised in
Go to
a
the
Christian
casino.
church, era pecado. And I go, I don't gamble. And if I gamble, with playing cards, it's when I used to go to the Apati's house. Remember we go? we used to put quarters or nickels, in the table,
Yeah.
and that was so much fun with his kids, with his parents. It was so much fun. It was nothing wrong with it. It was so much fun, and it's not a sin. But the church teaches you that it's a sin to do that. It's not a sin. It's okay to play cards. It's okay to
Yes.
play dice. Again, it's igual que jugar la lotería. There's nothing wrong with it.
Nos decían que no podíamos ir al casino también. We
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
go to the casino.
that was bad. That was
Oh
bad.
my!
I gotta say, I'm not a gambler, but my kids love like playing cards, and a lot of my family does, and I don't find nothing wrong with that. It's like it's not killing nobody. It's not hurting you, not hurting nobody but your bank account.
Exactly.
Or no, actually, it's actually hurting how much money you can give to the church at that point. That's
Right.
probably
Yeah.
why. Yeah, but it's funny because we're talking. I don't know what the title of the program was.
There's really
today,
no
but-
title, Nico. We were just gonna
No,
wing it.
we
With just
we're just
Hey, it
chatting.
seems like more about talking about our transition, accepting, the things that you didn't think you would ever be able to
Yeah.
accept before your life. Yeah,
everything. Yep.
right.
yeah.
It was supposed to
Like
be
just
about
there.
Rebelde.
It was supposed to be about me.
Leroy, what the heck? Where you
We're
been at?
supposed to, who wants to talk about Rebelde?
I've been cut off by phone call after phone call, and then when it gets me out, I have to log back in, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all good.
But I've been
It showed
here
that-
listening.
It showed that you were here the whole time, and I was
I know,
where
Miko.
the heck
That was
are
good.
you?
No, I've
Yeah.
been hearing. Just the mic has been cut off every time I answer a phone call.
That's true.
Oh, that's good.
What
I was
Handle your
going
business,
like
buddy.
today, Leroy. To today.
No, they're. I mean, everything you've covered. It all brings out memories of of us living in the light of the world and the way that they
Yeah.
manipulated and control us.
Yeah.
Talking about cards, we bought a pool table in our. Oh my gosh, my parents got. We were gonna go to hell. We were gonna
Oh, yeah.
we were gonna be we were gonna go to hell. We were gonna become drug addicts. We were gonna become
Oh my
Oh,
God.
sí, se
alcoholics
perdió.
because we put a pool table. We bought a pool
Imaginas?
table, and the ministers was like going crazy over it.
And
Well,
Oh
again,
my
I
god.
remember that. I remember the pool table. That was bad. It was
And it
like,
was us,
yeah, yeah.
Severio Coronado, right?
yeah,
through, through the
Just
big old tantrum
there's
over it.
yeah, there's
But
so
no,
many just little
y-
Oh,
little things that we grew up just
yes,
not
oh, but he,
thinking that we're cool. You know what I mean? I remember going to the movies for the first time ever with my mom.
oh,
She
that
took us to
too.
see She took us to see Jumping Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg. I'm 47 years old, so I don't know if anybody remembers that movie. But Jumping Jack
yes.
Flash, and we took a cousin of ours, and my mom took us, and that was like a secret little thing. And so we went out there and we seen this movie, and my mom bought us a huge bucket of popcorn. I'm sure she bought us some Slurpees with with the home movie and everything. We probably ate so much popcorn and ices that by the end of the movie, my cousin that we went with got sick, and she swore that when she got out of the movie, the reason she got sick was because God punished her for going to go see a movie.
Hmm.
So we just like overate on popcorn. I was like, "Oh, you're throwing up." I like she really just did. I was like, I really thought that God was really punishing us for going to see this movie because she got sick, or for
It
whatever
was
reason. It was just a silly notion that we grew up with, that you would think that if you just did something so innocent like that, like what's wrong going to see, Jumping Jack Flash, and it's not like you're going to see an adult movie even. It was like something so innocent. Like even if you went to watch Cinderella, a Disney movie, it was a bad thing. You know what I mean? That's
oh
just horrible that you couldn't enjoy those type of moments, but
Right,
it's just bad.
right.
That's how much the control was so deep with that cult. I can't keep calling it church.
I
It was that
was,
cult.
yeah,
I
there was
was,
an hermana that got uh put in front of the church because she took the holiness to go watch Ghost, that movie Ghost,
And
with
see, it's
Oh my
crazy.
God! But
oh
Ghost
my
though, come on, man. You don't take the
she
kids to see Ghost?
she took the holiness to go watch Ghost, and oh my gosh, on Sunday
No.
she had to tell the church that she took la jóvenes a ver la movie Ghost.
Yeah, but
Oh,
come
La
on, man.
pusieron
You
en
don't think.
prueba.
Okay, but do you remember this? That's
With
questionable. Was Patrick Swayze behind Debbie Moore?
Debbie Moore, yes.
yeah, that was sinful. That was sinful.
well,
It was a big sin that she took la jóvenes a ver esa película.
right.
It,
It
I
was
know.
that
like I
movie,
said,
right? The Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze movie.
Patrick Swayze, yes,
Yes.
Yeah, it is that one. Yeah, that's kind of
yes.
questionable. Even I'd be mad, but yeah, yeah, but
But
still,
oh my gosh, she was
even
put in
then
front of
though,
the church for
it
it.
wasn't naked though. They weren't naked. It was just it
Yeah,
was a good movie.
I know.
Oh man, that's
I
funny.
was talking to a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and I always tell everybody, that since I used to be like the entertainer of the Joaquines, that I would do the shows for, I would sing, I would, act in the, like, the baby shower for Alma, like things like that, like his birthday, the Stepanzon. And
Like your
I,
primo, mijo.
yeah, yeah. Entonces I was like, I was saying, all this time that I've been in there, I could have been an actress right now. I could have been a singer. And I am going to look for those things, in the future. If, maybe I'm a little bit too old already, but there's
I don't
Don't
think
still
say
a
so.
that.
chance that, like,
You're never
I'm
too old.
always
There's always a role for someone
Right,
right.
in some
right.
movie.
Yes.
My cousin, which is also Junior's cousin, I told you guys the story before. He used to tell this. He used to sing como Juan Gabriel en los shows de para Samuel in the
Yeah.
tiempos, and he would walk like him and everything, and he was like, he's good at it. Like, man, he should do this for a living, but of course he's still in el mundo, so that's a sin.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to do it for Samuel or for a past an
No,
apostle. Can't do it for
yeah,
Right.
anyone.
I've seen a celebration for one of the Joaquina's son's birthday. I can't say it was Naasón. I think Naasón was at the San Diego church. It might have been him, and they had a birthday party for him. And Mom, you remember where the Chicano Federation was at in
Yeah,
Logan?
yeah,
Across
uh-huh,
the street where the pool was at. Remember across the street they had the pool and next to it they
yeah,
had like a
yeah,
hall.
yeah.
And they had a I went there and I hadn't gone to church for a long time and didn't go. But somebody told me like, hey, you should come over here. They're throwing a party for one of the Joaquines when I was living in San Diego way back in probably the late '90s, probably late '90s, early 2000s. So I show up to this birthday party for one of the Joaquines, and they, like they usually do, they have entertainment. And one of the entertainment things that they had was they had four dudes in drag dressed as the Spice Girls, which I thought was just off the hook. I was like, what the heck? I don't even need to say more. Like, were we like not raised not to do this? And but like if it's for the sake of their entertainment, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's all right to have these dudes walking around, dressed in drag and shaking their asses, and it was just weird. It was just, I was just like blown away. But we all see the transition of how entertaining for the Joaquines at some point, it just became crazier and crazier in the acceptance of the music also that they started playing for the Joaquines, and then became like something that was used for their entertainment, and then they elaborated into their into the worship music, where at some point they started being okay with playing instruments in their music, and
Right.
and that was weird to me too. That whole transition where now it's like they had worship music that they were publishing on their own little record label that they had. It was everything. It was like they morphed. Like I was saying, it was like a doctrina mutable, no, whatever they call it
Right.
in Spanish. Yeah, it's like it just mutated throughout my at least in my generation. I've seen it go through so many different eras where we couldn't go trick or treating, and all of a sudden,
Oh yeah.
what's the name? The Adonai or the Naasón son, he had
Adonai.
that one
Like a
that
haunted
that
house. Like a haunted house.
the haunted
Yeah.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen the commercials for that. I've seen the commercials they had for that.
It's
I've
all
seen
about
the
making
dude.
money, babe. It's all about making money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all about making money. How weird is that?
Yeah.
But even before that, when I was a kid, I remember my mom knows about this. Is like Rael's in-laws used to be involved in making jewelry for money or whatever, and it's like, and they were brothers, but they would make like earrings. And even at my little young ass 5, 6, 7-year-old mind, when I was familiar with the Rael's in-laws and I was living in Guadalajara, I was like, aren't we like not supposed to wear earrings? Why are we selling earrings?
Right.
At that, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy that my mom raised me to. I'm happy I got her genes basically because I'm very analytical. Like I told you, I really just I never believed anything, especially when you're exposed to that. It's weird. I used to walk around that factory where they made that jewelry.
Yeah, I remember. I love that so many people are in Gaviota. I'm gonna have you on as a guest here. You and what is it? What is the other one? The one that we had that she's been making a lot of
Como
comments
Sierva.
to. Como
Yes.
Sierva de Dos. Yeah, she's
And then there's Drunk Mermaid too.
Drunk
Welcome,
Mermaid.
Drunk
I love
Mermaid.
that name.
Drunk Mermaid. I'm gonna go hang out with Drunk Mermaid.
Me too.
That's my
I
girl.
love that. I love that. Thank you guys for talking because that's the
I can't see the chat. I can't see the chats, but just based off the name Drunk Mermaid, we're gonna hang out.
Drunk Mermaid. I know, right? She says, yes, Gaviota, I would have sent to watch it. They're talking about that. Gaviota said that when the movie came out of what was it again? Let me see. What did she say? Was it this one or the movie about Christ? The Passion of Christ.
Oh yeah.
It was a sin to go watch that movie.
Yeah.
And then I went to see it at the movies.
I went to see it too.
It was so back then I wasn't going to church anymore, but I was like, oh my gosh, it was. And I told my mom, I go, Mom, we should go see it. Oh, olvídate, se va al infierno mi madre si la lleva al cine.
I know, my mom.
But it was such a good movie, and I couldn't believe that they these girls are they're telling the story that que los regañaron por ir a ver esa película, sino una película tan bonita, una historia de como también the story of Moses, man. That was a really good one too. What's that called? Los 10 Mandamientos, 10 Commandments. That was a really good. That one comes out on TV now. But yeah, they're great movies that you can watch, and it's like, it's just It's just crazy how they used to just manipulate us and control us. And by the grace of God, man,
Prince of
we're
Egypt.
oh yeah, Prince of Egypt.
Yeah, man.
I
Oh
know.
my God.
Yeah,
And
I'm
Yeah.
happy.
hey,
I'm happy we're out. I'm happy we're able to share these
Yes,
like other
definitely.
experiences.
Ojalá.
The things that we all rejoice in now after leaving and sharing the common experiences that we all have and just that freedom and
it's
do
isn't
the
it
things
cool
that we
to
do.
yeah,
Yes,
isn't it cool to just see that how we share things and how the things that we do and the things that we did and the things that we're doing now that we're free. I think it's wonderful
yes.
to know that it's okay. You're not going to go to hell. Al
No,
contrario, we're not serving an adulterer anymore. We're not worshiping this man anymore. We're literally whatever you want to be, anything that's spiritual. I think that we're in best hands, being out of La Luz del Mundo than what we are right now. We're blessed.
right. Exactly.
Rebelde, you and I have talked about it, and Junior, we have too. We talked about how blessed we are now, and we are, and it's not even the material things; it's just the peace that we have. A pesar de
Right.
que, a pesar de que hemos sido atacados por nuestra familia, first of all, that's their defense. Te atacan para callarte, but they're
Sí.
not. All we're doing is we're just telling our story and saying, you know what, this is where I was, and this is where I am, and I'm
Right.
going to move
I enjoy
forward.
my freedom now. I enjoy to be able to do what I do this. I'd be able to enjoy myself and do this and not be ashamed of who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's the one thing. That's the one thing I gotta say that, for you, Rebelde, and your name is very suited for
Unique.
what I'm about to say to you.
Está
No,
Robert.
it's very suited for what I'm about to say to you. Is that
Ay,
you have to be a rebel to be able to speak up and show your face because being a person that's going to come out here and say what you're going to say, you're like an open book, and so you got to
yeah,
be able to say,
yeah.
and be attacked, and they're going to say whatever you want about you. And
yeah,
Yeah.
Rebelde, you see my picture on there. Whenever you're ready to show your face and do all that, trust
I
me, it's
am.
going to be
I
work.
am ready. I am.
Hey,
All right,
hey,
let's get.
Rebelde, como decíamos when we were in little kids, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Hi,
Yeah.
Robert. Welcome.
Hi,
Hello,
Robert.
ex diacono, soy Hector Vera.
Don't yell. Hey, take your hat off.
Right?
Ábranse, perra.
Yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah.
Ask a question to Robert.
No,
Tabitha.
Robert. Actually, Robert, I'm so glad you're on because I've been talking to Hector about this. Gosh, this is going good. We might go more than an hour here,
Oh,
but
this
it's
is-
okay. Kevin gave you permission to do so. Anyway, Robert, I have always admired you for having the patience of the servant Job from the Bible, Siervo Job, that you see the passion that your husband has towards all this commitment that he has, and I admire you for having just being there for him. I'm sure there's days that you're going, I'm so tired of this SH. I'm sure there's those days because I know my husband is. But my husband always goes, when is this going to end, babe? I don't know, babe. I come and go, but then I come back because mis niños me necesitan. I think of everybody out
Robert told me all the time, you have time for me?
but you know what, Robert? Let me ask you something. I've been wanting to ask you this forever, and I'm glad we're doing this in public. What do you think of all this mess?
Exactly what it is. It's a mess. And
Right.
I think we're not giving up until everyone's free.
Right.
See, that's so wonderful.
So yeah.
See, you're right there, Hector. Man, you got a good man in your life and by your side. That's who you want to have as your spouse.
You listening?
Yeah.
That's very indicative of his devotion to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And can I say something, Robert? Is this your first time on one of our? Because I don't think there really is. Is there any other
It's the first
XLDM
time.
It's
English
his premiere.
shows? Yeah, exactly. It's the first time,
Not
right?
on-
Thank you
it's
for
the
being
first
on.
time on the fig tree, for sure.
Yeah, on the fig tree.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
been on
spoken?
Hector's a few times.
Have you been literally? I
No.
know you kind of peek at the back of Hector and say hi and stuff, but you've really never been like full on like right now, right? Or have you?
Right. Well,
Ask him what is this guy? Who's this guy? Who's
La
this guy,
cara, la
Robert?
Criminal and confesso.
Un puerco, un
Sí.
marrano
No,
asqueroso.
Cerdo.
El líder de la secta es un marrano.
How
Yeah.
cute.
Say it,
Say it
say
in
it,
English. Say it in
Marrano,
That's
English.
it. He's a pedophile. He
right?
confessed. Period. He
A
he
pig.
had evidence on his stuff.
Yep.
He wouldn't have been
Everything.
arrested if he didn't have stuff on his own devices.
Right.
Right.
I
So-
know. But
Yep.
but at the end of the day though, mijo, Robert, did you meet Hector after he was out?
Yeah, so I didn't meet Hector until December 2015 was the first time I
Okay.
actually
Oh wow, so
Like,
Naasón
fully
was
saw
already
him.
arrested then. Naasón
Yeah.
was already arrested at the time.
No.
long time. Yeah.
We're living together
Did you
10 years.
understand? Did you understand right away what was going on, or did you think he was crazy, or what did you think?
So at the beginning, it wasn't a big it wasn't like a big church, ex members against the members thing,
right,
because
right.
he wasn't arrested yet, all that stuff. It was just kind of like, oh, these guys are bad.
Oh, that's right. He got
Then-
arrested in 2019. You're right.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So once he got arrested, that's when everything just went, whoop, what's going on here?
Did
Yep.
you follow the case along with Hector, or
Oh,
was
yeah.
it only Hector interested?
Yeah, no, I was there, and every time he went somewhere to be filmed or whatever, I'm always there. I'm in the background filming as well.
That's awesome
So-
because you know what? I have to say with my husband, he's a gringo like you are, and so at first he didn't get it. He told me from the beginning, from the get-go, that he thought, he goes, because I always go, babe, what did you think about it? He goes, I thought you guys were all cuckoo. He would always tell me that, but he never held me back from not going to church. One thing that he did tell me was that he was always afraid that the church would take me away from him one day, because I was
Right.
still going to church when we got married. We got married in 2006, so I was on and off. And the day that I left church was when I think let me see here. Oh, I think we got Leroy back. Hold on a second. Oh, here we go. Okay. I think
I'm back.
oh, he's back. I'm back. Hey, so
Hello,
we can,
Robert. How you doing, Robert?
Hello.
He's Roger, remember him?
How's it going, bud?
Remember him?
we're interviewing him. Leroy.
Robert
We're
has to
asking all
remember
these
me.
questions.
Robert
Ask
can't forget who I am.
ask question to Robert.
So I was asking him, Leroy, of how was he involved in this whole thing? When did it start? And I was telling him that when I married my husband, I was still going to church off and on. So the only thing that he always thought the church was cuckoo. He just thought that he feared that one day they would take me away from him because I would follow the church more than him. But when the minister told me that if I didn't convert my husband in 6 months, I had to leave him. That's when I said, Robert, I'm done. And I left the church and I never came back. That right there told me I'm done, And so
Right.
you were blessed that he wasn't going anymore. And so he was a strong believer that everything that happened was true, And
Right.
so, I mean, I was telling Leroy, I was telling Robert that I commend him for the strength of being there for Hector as much as he is, because honestly, my husband wouldn't follow me that much, like you do, Robert. It's just amazing how you do. And don't get me wrong, my husband loves me, but he gets sick of it. He really does.
No,
Yeah.
it's easy to do.
Todos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to get sick of it, but it's a good fight, and we have to keep fighting until it's over. And
Leroy,
even then, it probably never will be completely over. But
Yeah, Leroy, you missed it right now when I asked him, and he said, we have to keep fighting, for the people that are still in there." And I think that's just a beautiful comment that he made, because, man, that's amazing, Robert. And I thank you for the strength that you give my brother. I mean, Hector's like a brother to me now, and like I said, I've lost so many family members that are my blood family members, but the Lord has given me beautiful people in my life, such as you guys, and I
Right.
thank you for not giving up on this fight with him, and it's just crazy though. And we hear more and more stories. I wonder if Hector has shared the stuff that Sarai speaks, if he translates them to you. Like, Hector, have you translated that letter that Execam and Sarai read on Saturday?
No, not yet.
agárrala y tradúzala en Google de inglés a español en partes. Tiene un máximo de characters que puedes hacer translate, pero translate it and have him read it. Porque
le voy a decir a Execam que me la mande.
yo la tengo, te la mando, Saray me la mandó ahora, la estaba leyendo.
Mándemela, sí, mándemela.
Te la voy a mandar para que la traduzcas y se la lees. I would love for you to read it. It's some ministers that literally wrote this letter to Naasón. And they wrote to him before, and they wrote to him again, and it just amazes me to see how many. The more we talk, the more we hear people that are getting out. Como Sarai is constantly is reading stories of more people and a group of 9 people, a family member of 13, a family member of 30. I talk to friends of mine all the time, and they go, Ya se salieron más, más.
Y vienen más testimonios. Un señor que se apellida Méndez y otro, no me acuerdo cómo, Shalom, ¿verdad? Están para salir. Y yo sí les quiero decir que no tengan miedo, ¿verdad? Porque es cierto que todo el mundo tiene miedo a lo desconocido, no sabemos cómo es llegar al momento de la muerte, que nos diga Dios hasta aquí, más sin embargo no hay por qué tener miedo,
¿Sabes qué, Héctor? En México es un poco más peligroso, especialmente en Guadalajara, esto es más peligroso, pero si están en Estados Unidos, man, nothing's going to happen to you, y si algo nos pasa, si algo nos llegara a pasar, guess where the finger's going to point at? I think that, yo creo que más hablamos, I think the more we talk, the safer we are. I really do.
I told the FBI and Homeland Security, if something happened to me or anyone,
all of us,
to the LDM, we blame the Joaquines and the cult.
You know what? I'm going to give you guys a testimony that happened to me not too long ago. So my husband and I go to this to the hair salon every 6 weeks, and we go to a restaurant that's not too far from there. And it's kind of ironic and kind of weird because the second to the last time we went to the restaurant and we saw this guy from La Luz del Mundo. And I just thought, I heard them talking Spanish, and I turned around, me llamó la atención because they were talking Spanish. So I turned around and looked, and I recognized the guy. And then I'm like you, Junior. I said, hey, you're from La Luz del Mundo. And he goes, yeah. And I go, we haven't seen you in a while. And I said, yeah. I go, I don't go anymore. And she goes, me dijo, la invitamos. And I said, oh, no, thank you. I don't go anymore. And that's it. Ironically, 6 weeks later, I go back to my hair appointment. I go back to that restaurant. And guess who was there again? The same guy. So I told the first time when I told my husband, my husband goes, why did you just have to say hi to him? And my husband's more careful and he's more of a protector, But the second time that we saw him, he goes, I don't like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this right now live on our podcast, just in case something does happen. My husband knows who it is. He would recognize him right away. Yeah. That's really, it was kind of weird. And then,
pregúntele a Robert cuando me dijeron que venían 3 guaruras y me iban a dar en lo que me duele. Pregúntenle cómo sintió esa situación, porque vino la policía a la casa y nos dijo que pusiéramos cámaras, inclusive nos dijo, compren una pistola. Pero pregúntenle a Robert cómo le fue en ese momento cuando me amenazaron.
Hey, Robert, how did you feel when they threatened Hector, that they had like some bodyguards and stuff like that and threatening his life? How did you feel?
They have some henchmen.
A little bit of both, right? I mean, so you feel a little scared at one point, and at the other point, it's like, okay, what do I need to do to protect myself?
Right.
So,
well, that's what we do have. My husband's always been he's always had the love for guns anyway, and they're all permitted. He's a good citizen, and he does everything the right way. But also, too, is we put cameras in our house everywhere, and we even have sensors that even if they shoot down the cameras, we have sensors all around the house with the lights that turn on. And my neighbor across the street is a cop, so I think we're pretty safe. But I have to say though, so that happened, and then Hector, I don't know if I told you this story. So like 6 weeks ago, I was at the grocery store and I was listening to Sarai. It was a Saturday. I was listening to Sarai in my car on my speaker, and I got when I got to the store, I turned off my phone because I'm thinking, you know what, it's good. I have it on speaker and I can't hear it. So I was paying at the self checkout when I hear Sarai talking, and it kind of sounded like an echo. Then I looked around. I go, maybe I didn't turn off my phone. So I take my phone out of my purse and it's off. So I'm like, ¿qué será? So then I looked around, and next thing you know, right behind me, there's this lady paying, and she's listening to Sarai, a powerful lady. She's wearing jeans. She's wearing earrings. She's a total normal person. I'm not gonna say gentil, a totally normal person, right? And I was kind of like surprised. So at first I thought she must be an ex LDM member because she's listening to Sarai. So I said, hey, are you listening to Sarai? And she turned around and kind of smiled. And she's kind of embarrassed. And she goes, sí. And I go, ¿por qué la escucha? Y luego, and then right away she goes, you're Tia Tabby. And I go, I am. And she goes, I recognize your voice. And I go, oh my goodness. I was kind of like embarrassed about it and shy about it and a little bit, when I say that word, I'm trying to say that word, but anyway, I not nervous. It's more I felt kind of more embarrassed about it, and so but that's not the word I want to use. But anyway, she walked out the store with me, and she goes, "I listen to her every time." And I go, "How did you find me?" She goes, "Because," she said, "the church that I go to also has an apostle." And I go, "Do you go to el mundo?" She goes, "No. Voy a una iglesia parecida a la de ustedes." And I go, "Be careful with apostles; they're dangerous." And then I know. She goes, "I know, and that's why I listened to her." But the amazing thing was, and I told Sarai, la cosa tan bonita que no piensa uno, Hector. We never think
Claro.
that other people are listening to us that are not ex-LDN members.
Y no se escuchan muchas.
Yes.
No, y a veces no nos damos cuenta hasta dónde llegamos.
Hector, not only that, but there's other religions that have leaders that are pedophiles, that have not only religions. We see presidents do that. We see people of power that do that. And people have to be careful with people of power, of people with power. You know what I mean? So my thing was that she literally, and she goes, yeah, and I go, what are you doing here? And she goes, oh, I cleaned the whole shopping center. And she did. She had like a cart with all the cleaning utilities and stuff. So she goes, deme su teléfono, then me, I gave her my number, and later on I go, man, maybe she's a spy. I don't know. It was kind of weird, but I've called her after that, and no, she actually works there cleaning the shop. But what amazed me, and I called Sarai right away, and I told Sarai, and I go, you're not going to believe me. This lady out of the blue was listening to you, not being ex La Luz del Mundo. She just loves to hear your stories you're giving. And she told me one thing that I was kind of embarrassed. The word I was thinking was I was humbled by it, that she recognized me or my voice, But she did tell me, ¿cómo son de pendejos? ¿Cómo se dejaron? Yeah, you're right.
Amen.
Yes, we were. And I'll do respect. I'm not calling any of my family members that are still in the mundo pendejos. I'm not. Don't use that as I'm attacking. I'm calling myself.
Gilipollas. Yo sí lo digo.
Can I say something about this and the fact that you ran into somebody that had similar experiences to this? And Mom, I work as a service tech for a company, and so I'm always traveling and going around all these places. And I recently, went into this home of these folks, and they've seen my name on my shirt and it said Israel, and they happen to be Filipino, and so I hate to start to talk to people about my name because I don't want to talk to you about religion. I don't want to talk to you about politics because of the country Israel, whatever. So it's like I just want to be in and out of your house, go on to my next appointment, be out. But these people, these Filipino people, they're just really nice people. I grew up around Filipino people, and they're very welcoming, and they want to give you snacks and keep you hydrated the whole time you're doing the work. But they're real nice people. And so at the end, they opened up the conversation like, hey, why did you cut? I'm almost doing the Joy Coy Filipino voice. But they asked me, said, hey, why is your name Israel? And I said, because I grew up in a
Ay.
Christian family. And I said, what kind of Christian family? And so I told them, I tried to explain to them, and so I've never been able to figure out what exact denomination La Luz del Mundo considers themselves.
Mm.
So I told them, I was like, it's very similar to the Filipino church that they have called the Iglesia Ni Cristo. I call it the INC. And so they're these people. No, so these people happen to be ex-members of that same church, and we're still have family in there.
Right.
And so they and I didn't get this deep conversation with them, but it was like it's crazy. I told them, I was like, I no longer go there, and I told them about the church, and I pulled out my phone and I showed them what this was all about, you know, and they're like, oh wow, that's just like the church exactly. I said, dude, trust me, it's exactly the same thing. But you're always gonna run into and there's so many people that are caught in the same world that we came from that you can translate this to without them even having to try to figure it out because they already lived it. Some people though, it's crazy because there's a lot of people that never live through this, and having to show them this, it's like, what the heck? There's a Netflix special about something and your mom's in this. I mean, pictures of your family. I mean, pictures of your family's in here. That's your grandpa right there. I'm like, yeah, like really, dude. Like it's a small world that you never think that this would ever happen to you, or now that it's happened to us, it's like, think about us. Like we're members of victims. Where I'm like, I gotta tell people about how my grandfather was one of the founding members, and he's in these pictures and standing next to Aaron Joaquin and next to Samuel and blah blah blah. And I gotta tell them that this is my cousin talking in his testimony. It's wild. It's like they're like, dude, that's like a soap opera. I'm like, exactly. That's why they got Netflix for this.
Right.
But it's that wild. I never thought I'd ever live this. And let me just explain and say one thing though. I was like, in my whole life though that I went through all this, I never was totally emotionally invested into this, but I used to be honestly, I used to dream about days when this would come to an end when the church would be figured out, and then like what I knew was actually happening at church would be figured out by the rest of the world. And I'm not saying I'm trying to sit there and be like act like a prophet or nothing, but there are a lot of things when you know something's wrong and you're just waiting for the time for it to be figured out. And when Samuel died, and my mom will testify to this. I posted something on Facebook that day. It's like, mark my words. This isn't word for word verbatim, but I said I shared this even on Hector's thing one day. I think I said, mark my words that today is the day that all you guys are gonna figure out that what you believe in is a complete lie. The next person that gets picked is gonna be a Joaquin. And my family started deleting me off their Facebooks and all this stuff. And some people messaging me, what are you posting? Blah, blah, blah. And what do you know? Lo and behold, 2 weeks later or less than a week later, whatever.
They kept pushing him in a lot of the opening of new churches and stuff. They kept pushing him. And that's why I knew it was not.
Yeah.
Hey, before I go on, baby, real quick, I just want to check and see. I just allowed someone on stage with a heart on. Who is that?
That's Bati Chica.
Hola, Bati Chica, ¿cómo estás, hermosa?
Hola, chicas. Muy bien, gracias.
Estamos hablando Spanglish, porque tenemos a
Yeah,
Robert aquí.
I know.
Hablamos hasta en chino cuando nos enojamos.
Estamos platicando de nuestras experiencias, Bati Chica, tanta cosa que nos pasó en la luz del mundo y estamos. Y cómo ahora somos libres. Ya, estamos
bendito sea Dios, sí. Tenemos que estar unidos en esta lucha porque somos muchos internacionalmente hablando. Entonces hay que hablar en español, en inglés, en italiano, en portugués, en lo que se ocupe para gritarle al mundo que esta secta es una secta maldita que pues nos ha coaccionado y nos ha violentado en muchos sentidos a muchas familias del mundo.
quiero compartir con ustedes que yo conozco a Batichica, tenía mucho tiempo que no hemos platicado, Batichica, así es que
Ajá, sí.
perdí, le voy a decir a Héctor que me lo pase otra vez, lo cambiaste si ya no tengo el número de teléfono, pero las pláticas que hemos tenido largas y tendidas ella y yo, por lo que pasó, por lo que sufrió, lo cerca que estaba a lo que era la casa real, la familia real, y cómo la admiro. O sea, por eso yo siempre digo que cuando ya Dios te va a abrir tu entendimiento, le estaba platicando ahorita a los muchachos en inglés, Batichica, de una muchacha que me encontré en la tienda hace como un mes y medio, que estaba oyendo a Saraí, una señora, hacia la brava. Y yo pensé que no me había pagado mi teléfono, mi celular, porque yo lo estaba escuchando a Saraí antes de bajarme del carro. Y esta muchacha estaba escuchando a Saraí. Y a lo que voy es esto, es de que no solamente los ex alumnos nos están oyendo, mija, nos están oyendo gente de otras religiones que se quieren educar, porque
exacto.
Que hay gente tan pendeja, me dice, ¿cómo lo hicieron? Y le dije yo, sí, éramos pendejos, le dije, pero ya no soy pendeja, ya ahora.
Pero ya no.
Se me quitó la pez.
Yo no tengo ni un pelo de tontejo, miren.
Oye, el pez se nos salió de la frente a nosotros y se la pasó ¿a quién? ¿A quién?
A Naasón. A Naasón, con la P de pentonto.
Ajá. Pero sí, yo pienso cómo y yo todos los días, Batichica, le lloro y le oro a Dios y digo, Dios mío, ¿quién fui yo que tuviste misericordia de mí? Tan difícil que es salir de una secta. Yo he leído libros, he leído, mi tío Sergio me ha compartido películas conmigo de personas de documentales de sectas, y lo difícil que es salirse. Y digo yo, la bendición que Dios nos dio de abrir los ojos y no nos salimos porque queremos andar de vagos o que andamos picadores o porque me quiero poner pantalones o que quiero ir al cine. No, nos salimos porque vimos la luz, vimos la verdad. Dios nos dio entendimiento de nuestro libre albedrío y nos enseñó y más que todo tuvimos yo creo que más que todo fue que Dios tuvo misericordia de nosotros y nos sacó, pero más que
fíjate,
todo,
Tavi,
se llama bendición, hermana, se llama bendición. Lo que nos pasó a nosotros es una bendición porque vivíamos en una maldición, en una maldición completa.
Hay una cosa bien importante que pues nos va a costar tiempo entenderlo, comprenderlo, porque muchos nacimos ahí, otros llegamos muy chicos y pues fueron muchos años de vivir sometidos en ese adoctrinamiento, ¿no? Me refiero a que lo que decías hace ratito, Tavi, que decías, no nos salimos para ponernos pantalones, o sea, ponerse pantalón, sí, pero ponerse pantalones o tomarse una cerveza de vez en cuando no es malo.
Una copita,
no es malo. Entonces todavía traemos ese chip que nos pusieron ahí en la secta de que ciertas cosas son malas. En realidad, nada de lo que hay en el mundo es malo. Siempre
ir al cine, ver la televisión.
Ir al cine, ver la televisión, cortarte el cabello, darte una arregladita, una maquilladita. Bueno, que hasta las grandes celebridades de ahí de la secta siempre se daban su maquilladita, que no digan que no.
Como dice la Barbie, que las canas nunca se le enseñaron a la señora García.
Ni a la señora García, ni al apóstol.
Nomás tenían mechón blanco.
No, les daban su maquillada antes de subir al ministerio. A mí no me cabe duda, porque ahora sí se les miran los granos y se les miran los defectos en todos lados.
Entonces,
sí, no, qué cosa, Dios mío. Pero a lo que voy es que efectivamente, o sea, nosotros somos seres humanos que queremos vivir en libertad, queremos vivir en paz, queremos vivir ya sin cargar ese lastre de culpa que nos sembraron en la luz del mundo por casi todo lo que la gente normal, vamos a decir, hace que todo el mundo normalmente lo hace y que es normal, o sea que es parte de la vida, el decidir vestir de la manera como tú quieras vestir, el decidir tomar decisión sobre tu cuerpo como tú quieras tomarla, o sea, ya basta de todo eso, nos va a costar trabajo, sí, pero efectivamente, solamente queremos vivir en paz, en armonía con los demás, con nosotros mismos, en respeto. No es de que vamos a correr allá a vivir libertinamente, ¿no? No es así. Eh, y es de lo que nos tachan, ¿no? Es de lo que nos tachan, es de lo que se llenan la boca al decir, no, sí, porque nomás quieren andar de borrachos y esto y lo otro, pero a mí me da risa porque todo eso que ellos dicen que nosotros somos, por eso y más, está ese hombre en Chino, California, por
Ellos
cosas
son peor,
peores,
ellos son peor.
asquerosas, exactamente, por
Ayer,
cosas asquerosas
perdón,
peores.
ayer me tocó platicar en un canal católico y que se sube Gerardo Ortiz, ¿verdad? El topo, y me empieza a decir, tú eres homosexual y no sé qué tanto. Le digo, ya cámbiale, ya siempre sales con lo mismo.
Oye, mijo, pero
no tiene
Sí,
ningún
pero tú
argumento.
no lo niegas, no lo niegas. Y
No,
es la
no,
cosa que nosotros no nos escondemos. Es
Hey.
como, like I said a little while ago, nosotros ya somos un libro abierto. Nosotros ya
Claro.
estamos dándole nuestra historia. No tenemos nada que esconder. Ya cuando estamos aquí dando nuestras caras, es porque ya estamos dispuestos a dar todos nuestros récords, que saquen lo que ellos quieran, si que ellos quieran decir lo que quieran de mí. Ellos tienen mucha suerte. Toda la gente que se la pasa en esos canales tiene mucha suerte, que nosotros no nos la pasamos del tú por tú con ellos. De perdida yo, y yo como mi mamá. Y cuando mi mamá empezó todos esos canales, dije, hey, you know what I mean, nosotros no nos lo vamos a pasar allí, back and forth con nuestra familia que se la pasa ahí en los programas de Gerardo Ortiz o ¿cómo se llama el otro? El asiático Kazuki, cuando salió ahí nuestro primo. ¿Qué nos vamos a ganar ahí con esa audiencia tan chiquita que tienen ellos? Ellos nomás atienden de que esa audiencia tan chiquita son los únicos tontos que se la pasan ahí escuchándolos.
Sí.
A mí eso no me afecta a mí nada en mi vida, para nada.
No, yo le dije a mi hijo, ¿sabes qué, hijo? Cuando me atacó mi sobrino en el canal de Kazuki, y dijo que yo era esto, otro, mi hijo de volada iba a entrar porque él tenía muchas cosas que decir para atacar a él y a su familia, pero ¿sabes qué le dije? Mi hijo, de nada nos ganamos con eso.
Nada, no sirve de nada.
Yo estoy cogiendo mis batallas de poco a poquito. You know what I mean? Yo ya tengo mi, en inglés, como se dice, I got my ammunition already right here. Yo no me estoy esperando mi momento.
Sí.
Pero también, yo mira, como les digo, yo soy un libro abierto. Ellos pueden ir a buscar todos mis récords de todo lo que yo he hecho en mi vida, pero lo que no soy yo, no soy un violador de niños.
Ni hipócrita.
No he robado yo nada a gente inocente, nada de eso, nunca lo he hecho yo en mi vida.
Deja
porque
eso,
lo demás,
¿Saben qué es lo más? Yo estaba también razonando sobre de esto. Perdón. Estaba razonando precisamente sobre de esto en la tarde. Y ayer en la noche estaba yo platicando con mi madre sobre de este asunto, porque yo sí tengo la bendición de que mi madre comprendiera, a pesar de que es una mujer adulta, que comprendiera estas cosas, ¿verdad? Si ella ha decidido estar todavía allí, es porque yo todavía tengo a mis hermanos ahí. Entonces, mucha gente está así, ¿no? Bueno, lo que quiero comentar es esto, que nosotros, sí, tal vez algunos, como dice este compañero, ¿verdad?
Junior,
Yo no,
Junior,
ahí está mi
Junior.
récord,
Ujú.
Junior, ahí está mi récord, me pueden investigar y todo y acá y allá. Pero puede ser que yo, por ejemplo, haya cometido algún delito o algo como ser humano, alguna cosa, ¿verdad? Pero ¿sabes qué es? ¿Sabes qué es lo que me salva? Que yo no ando engañando diciendo que soy una iluminada y que Dios habla por mí y
Que soy
dándome
un
baños de
santito,
pureza,
que yo no
que
hago
soy
nada,
una
que no rompo
santa ni
nada.
nada,
Somos humanos,
¿sabes?
somos humanos.
Somos seres humanos que nos podemos equivocar, podemos adulterar, podemos fornicar, podemos, de repente a lo mejor, si me agarraron borracha o algo, como a muchas gentes le puede pasar con un poquito de alcohol o lo que sea, pero saben que yo no ando engañando a la gente diciéndole que soy
Exacto.
iluminada y que yo
No.
tengo permiso de
Mm.
pecar. No,
Y
no,
que no eres salva,
asumo.
y que no eres salva si no crees en él. That's the words of the word.
Exacto, exacto.
Oh my
Y
goodness.
asume uno como ser humano, pues las consecuencias de sus acciones, ¿no? O sea,
Sí.
todo en esta vida trae consecuencias y las hemos asumido tal cual,
Sí.
que una infracción, pues bueno, a pagarla, a cumplirla, esto, lo otro. Pero
Claro.
esta gente que según que tienen permiso de pecar y que tienen permiso
O no tienen pecado, no
de
tienen pecado.
no tienen pecado, son inmaculados. Ah, caray,
Ujú.
pues su
Sí.
chingada madre, pues
Mis chanclas.
está canijo así. Ajá, sí.
No la hagan enojar,
Entonces,
no la hagan
No me
enojar.
hagan
Ey, la
enojar.
primera
no,
vez
no
que
me
lo oigo
hagan
de
enojar
la
porque,
palabra, ¿eh?
no me
No,
hagan
no,
enojar
de veras,
porque,
si me permiten, ya para despedirme, porque tengo una entrevista, un periodista me va a entrevistar ahorita en media
adelante.
hora. Esta gente se cree santa, se cree perfecta, y todo el mundo los critica porque bíblicamente nos dice la Biblia que el que esté libre de pecado arroje la primera piedra, ¿verdad? El que esté libre de pecado. ¿Quién no peca? La Biblia dice que no hay justo ni aún uno, ¿verdad? Y yo lo sostengo, ¿verdad? La palabra de Dios lo dice y así lo voy a seguir diciendo. Te sientes limpio, sígueme atacando. Tus mismos actos te van a condenar, ¿verdad? Porque si me apuntas con un dedo, 3 te están apuntando para ti, ¿verdad? Y esto es la realidad, ¿verdad? No somos santos, ¿verdad? Nos engañaron, vivíamos una falsa santidad. Ay, mi santo hermano, ¿verdad? Porque cometemos errores, ¿verdad? Está como en el tiempo de la ley, ¿verdad? En los 10 mandamientos, el que no mataba, robaba. El que no robaba, fornicaba. El que no fornicaba, codiciaba a la mujer de su prójimo, ¿verdad? Y caían en contradicción y nadie cumplió la ley, ¿verdad? Hoy en este tiempo somos pecadores. Alguien que salga como Menchaca con unas alitas enormes, ¿verdad? Que se la dan de pura santidad, eso que se los crea su abuela, ¿verdad? Yo me despido, ¿verdad? Junior, me dio gusto platicar aquí con tu mami, ¿verdad?
Gracias.
La Rebelde,
Que no sea la última vez que esté con nosotros.
¿verdad? Y Rogelio, un abrazote a mi amigo Rogelio. Hay muchos que fueron miembros de donde yo estaba, ¿verdad? Yo aquí veo en el chat a el de Washington, de San Antonio, ¿verdad? Hay mucha gente que me conoce, ¿verdad? Y pues ya estamos haciendo carnita asada, ya llegamos a más de 1,000 suscriptores y mañana vamos a tener una visita especial. Viene esta, ¿cómo se llama? Ay, se me fue su nombre.
Alejandra.
¿Verdad? Sus dos hijas fueron violadas, ¿verdad? Por un hijo de un ministro, Mascorro. Ayúdenme a pensar, la señora Brenda Figueroa. Mañana va a estar con nosotros, ¿verdad? Si me manda Rogelio material de Raúl Mascorro, se llama Raúl Mascorro, el hijo del pastor Mascorro, se me da el nombre del pastor, pero este pastor también en África andaba tras la negrita, ¿sí? Andaba atrás de las hermanas negritas allá en África, ¿verdad? A ese le dieron el pastorado por ponerme el dedo. Cuando yo andaba en El Paso, pues ya estaba yo fuera y todo, ¿verdad? Y me fue y me acusó con Benjamín y con todos los puerquines y que le dan el pastorado a Mascorro. ¿verdad? Pero sí, mañana los esperamos en el canal de Vamos con Todo, ¿verdad? Va a estar Brenda Figueroa, ¿verdad? Porque no, ni perdón ni olvido, así se va a llamar, ni perdón ni olvido, ¿verdad? La secta es una secta de pedófilos, y llámale pedófilos, llámale pederastas, llámale como quieras, ¿verdad? La sierva Veloz pone pederasta, llámale como quieras, ¿verdad? Es un nido de pedófilos. De pedófilos, para que mañana estemos al pendiente, ¿verdad? Y vamos a sacar otros nombres. Rogelio tiene la lista, ¿verdad? Me la va a mandar, ¿verdad? Y también si encuentra material de Raúl Mascorro, se lo voy a agradecer. Dios los bendiga. Voy a tener una plática con un joven periodista, ¿verdad? Que va a sacar luego un reportaje. Dios los bendiga a todos.
Dios te bendiga.
Bye. God bless you, Hector.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, I like this comment that Gavieta put on. He said that they compare Naasón to the apostles in the Bible. Basically, if you're comparing Naasón, si estás comparando a Naasón con los apóstoles de la Biblia, están diciendo que esos apóstoles eran violadores, que eran pedófilos, y también lo comparan a Jesucristo. So are you telling me that Jesus was a pedophile? Is that you? Siempre comparan. Oh, es que él fue, él dijo que él iba a estar en la cárcel porque él iba a sufrir en la cárcel. I'm like, really? ¿Hasta dónde han llegado de comparar a este hombre que es un pedófilo, que él solito se declaró culpable, que ni siquiera tuvo los pantalones de voltear a ver a las niñas el día de la sentencia? That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Es algo que es increíble, you know, it's like, Leroy, ¿qué piensas, mijo, de todo esto?
No, Sister Tabby, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mijo.
You can hear me? Yeah, it's just, we know that it's it all comes down to the whole thing comes down that he got all discovered, and then now today we see the light, we see the truth, and every day we see everything that they do, every movement that the obispos or the Light of the World Church does. We see every movement they do, and now we're exposing it, and they hate it. They hate that we're out here talking about the truth, that we know what happened in there, and they just like that because we're exposing them for the true colors that they are. Instead of being the men of God that they were, even the ministers that one day we really believed in them. We really believed that they were men of God. They were put by God, and now we see all what they done to try to hide
the hypocrisy.
And to try to hide everything that has come out, and then the behind it is they were there helping. That's the most craziest thing, that they were there helping while we believe in them, and we helped them out, and we were by their side whenever they made the call. We were at the ready, you know. Hey, you know, Leroy, we're ready we need you to go Houston. We need you to go Guadalajara. You know, just pack up my stuff and go. I didn't, you know. And now these men, the same men that would direct me to say that, and I believed in them, now they've been exposed as to the ones that were hiding and helping cover all these the crimes that these apostles did. They've been behind it, and the hypocrisy that they now try to put it in and say no, it's not true. They've done every single try to anything that they have tried to cover up what they've done, and they are being exposed day after day. And that's my
Leroy,
belief.
I got a question for you. So you're the guy that did the social media stuff not the social media, but the stuff for Berea, right? The videographer and all that.
Yes, I was with Berea, cameraman.
Yeah, now I remember. Now I'm putting two and two together. So,
I was under what they call Crónicas Apostólicas.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
It was documenting everything that they did, videotape it, put it under video. Which all those videos and everything, I don't know what happened to them. They've been.
You're Manu Julian. You're friends with Manu Julian's. What's his name? Mom from San Diego. He was part of that too. ¿Cómo se llama? Last name? His sister married our cousin Caesar.
This Ibarra. I told him about it.
Ibarra.
Yes, we talked.
Yeah, you're friends with him. Yeah, okay. So one thing I gotta say though, I was from just I'm putting the you together with that story now. But I want to ask you something as a man now that you're gone now, and you're aware of that kind of culture where that there was something going on that was, where people were okay with just allowing their daughters to go and do these things, and you kind of caught wind of these things. And I think we all know, as a man now, how do you feel like there's like that, like you're proud of being that person now, that you have to kind of stand up for your kids, and you got to also kind of create that other culture that you left at, and that's also not acceptable. Like that's one thing, like after I left the church, like I realized there was kind of a weird way that you allowed your kids to kind of just roam around in that church with the people and go to hang out with these other people, and then things just kind of got weird when I heard about my cousins and stuff like that, allowing them to go be part of serving on the apostle and stuff like that. As a man, do you feel like now, like it's your place, and like it's kind of our duty now to let the woman know, especially our young girls, know that they got a safe place for us to go and talk to us as men? Like there's guys that can stick up for them, like, hey, nobody's gonna touch my kids. That's one thing I've always talked to my mom about. Is like the women were in the beginning when this XLDM started, there was like a lot of women speaking up, like we got to be tough. But I always told my mom, like, more men need to speak up. Men need to know that we're here for our women, our little girls, and to protect them. Do you ever feel like it's time for you to stand up and like you're part of that now?
Yeah, yes, and that's why I'm here. I've been behind the scenes with a lot of the ones that know me. I've been working behind the scenes. I'm not really in all these podcasts. Your mother knows my wife, and because they've talked, and she invited me on, so I decided to be on. And I come more here with your mom and this podcast because I feel more freedom here. I feel welcome. But yes, unfortunately for my standing, I believed in these men. I allowed my wife to dance. I allowed my daughter to dance, and I saw it at that time as a blessing. At that time, I saw that they elected my wife to go dance when we first got married, and they thought that she was beautiful and she was part. She had, and they elected her, and I believed it. I was like, wow, we were. You get to go dance. For the apostle, and then
and
my daughter.
That's why I'm asking you that. Yeah.
And then my daughter turned 14. She was asked to go dance, and I was like, wow, blessing. Driving her around for all these choreographic dances that she was getting prepared to go dance for the apostle, and all this bullshit now that we know that these men were just evil men that were. But I was brought in and captured because I believe in Samuel, and then I believed in Naasón. And now I've come out and like I help in Berea. I help to do their work in exposing. At the time, I was showing the world that who the light of the world was, and who Samuel was, who Naasón was, through different mediums. But now I'm out here exposing and telling the world these men were not men of God. These men were they're wolves dressed in sheep wool.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And now I go around and like I said, I work more behind the scenes, but I'm exposing a lot of stuff that they've done. When you were talking about earlier that they changed the logo to the Light of the World Church, where they're not only changing the logo to the Light of the World Church, behind the scenes, they also created a non-profit, which has, if I'll tell you the name right now, it's called LDM USA Evangelical Ministries, which has nothing to do with the Light of the World Church or La Luz del Mundo, and they're changing all these churches and other properties over to this new non-for-profit that they established. Which no one's talking about it. No one's really has talked about it, but that's what they're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff when you talk about the property changes and stuff like that. That my mom will tell you that I've shown her that there's a person that we're related to that is involved in the real estate movements and changes and stuff like that. That it's public knowledge, and you can just Google this stuff up, and
Right.
you
All this is
Google his
Google.
name up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see all the major West Coast churches are under his name. Like, how
Oh, him
surprising
and I
is that?
talked about it. Yeah, him and
Yeah.
Leroy and I talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy how that's happened. I mean, you just Google it up. You know what I mean? It's so easy to find. It's like, why is it not under one of the Joaquin's names? This family member of ours isn't a minister, isn't an apostle, isn't anybody related to them. He's just very in cahoots, and
Right.
with these people. He's been. I've known of him to be involved with all these purchase of churches all over the West Coast, and I'm sure everywhere else. To help alleviate tax issues and stuff like that. I'm sure he's involved in all that stuff. There's no. I mean, you don't have. You have to be a certain type of intellect to be able to understand that and be able to look into that. But when you
at the end
start
of the
to look
day,
deep into that,
the Homeland Security, and they're looking into it. They're
Yeah.
looking into
oh yeah,
all
yeah.
these
That, I mean, come on,
transactions,
yeah.
and
And we
that's
can
where
find it
they're
in
at.
its public. Yeah, we can find it as public, and I hope so that they
Yeah.
do interact with all that and find out what's going on with that, because it is wrong. It is
Yeah.
absolutely wrong.
It
You know
is
what I mean?
wrong.
And that has a lot to do with the way that things go down in that church, with favoritism in that church, and who you're rubbing shoulders with in that church. And as long as you're cool and you're of some kind of benefit financially or otherwise to that church, you're gonna be all right. You can do all the wrong you want. You can do whatever you want. You can have the most spotted history that you feel that you want to have, as long as you are alleviating that church and that organization somehow, some way.
Hey,
Like
Ginger,
most.
real quick, I
Uh-huh.
wanted to welcome. I think we have Blue Demon on our Blue Diamond. I would say Blue. I call him Blue Diamond. I don't like the demon word. Hijo, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido a nuestro canal. Ahora estamos haciendo Spanglish, ¿eh? Ahora estamos
Blue
haciendo
Demon.
Let me. Yes, Gaviota. Yes, I know them. I work with them. I know who they are personally.
Hola, tía Tavi, buenas tardes.
Hola, amigo,
Hello.
¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, saludos a...
Feliz cumpleaños, aunque tarde, pero aquí te lo quería decir públicamente. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday a mi sobrino hermoso. Happy birthday to you.
Muchas gracias, tía. Pues un saludo allá a la Rebelde.
Estamos platicando de nuestras experiencias, mijo, de todos los que nos prohibieron y la libertad que tenemos ahora, gracias a Dios.
Sí.
Sí, desgraciadamente es algo que nos dejó huella. Yo les digo a los compañeros que yo estoy en una reconstrucción, porque a mis 50 años no sé moverme en el mundo.
Aww.
Y estoy empezando. Y no creo que sea tarde.
No, estás joven todavía. Yo que tengo 67 años y aquí ando.
Sí, pues fue muy
pasos,
duro.
En inglés decimos baby steps, pasos de bebé.
Sí. Así es. Yeah. Yo escucho, o más bien leo a Bill Indigno cuando él pone, duele lo que nos hizo la luz mundo.
Sí.
Pero pues hoy que estamos libres, tenemos que vivir y disfrutar el tiempo que Dios nos dé.
Así es.
Adelante.
Te dejan cicatrizado, pero acuérdate que las cicatrices se van borrando poco a poquito, mijo.
Sí, claro que sí.
Es lo que podemos decir. ¿Verdad que sí?
Triste.
Sí.
Duelen la mente.
Sí, las cicatrices ya no van a doler un día.
Corazón. Y
¿Saben que ya tenemos 2 horas hablando? Solamente te quería dar la bienvenida aquí con nosotros. Noté a un principio que estaba Execam y creo que lo dije cuando estábamos en el otro live, Rebelde y Junior, o quizá lo dije aquí a un principio, pero me encanta la manera que habla él, tan elocuente, tan elegante, pero con un corazón grandote. Me hizo quebrar a mí también cuando lo oí a él quebrar, leyendo la carta que compartió de los encargados a Naasón. En otra ocasión vamos a ver si la vamos a leer otra vez, pero sí, hay tanto material y me encanta que podemos compartir. Sari compartió esa carta conmigo, la vamos a compartir con Héctor. La quería leer en inglés, la hice translate en inglés para poderla leer. Está bien fuerte lo que le mandan decir, los testimonios que recibe Saraí, y queremos alcanzar, como hemos dicho, ¿verdad? No solamente estamos alcanzando y alzando la voz para que nos oigan las personas que están fuera de los del mundo, sino que de otras religiones que tienen ese control contigo. Les compartí anteriormente, no sé si lo dije en inglés o en español, mi hijo, pero de que saliendo de la tienda hace como mes y medio, vi una señora oyendo el programa de Saraí que no tiene nada que ver con los del mundo, nada. Y cuando lo oí, volteé yo y dije, ¿qué estás haciendo? Yo pensé que era esa del mundo, no era. Ella pertenece a otra iglesia que también tiene un apóstol, pero está oyendo porque le dije, ponte trucha, le dije, porque oí esa palabra apóstol y los apóstoles ya no son. Así es que esa es una bandera roja para que y dijo, sí, por eso la escucho. Es lo que nos gusta de nuestros programas, ¿verdad? Y ustedes, más que todo ustedes, Batichica, Demon, Leroy, Junior, all of us, the more we talk, the more they're going to learn. Lo más hablamos, ellos van a aprender más. Y no solamente, claro que nosotros somos egoístas y queremos que nuestros familiares de la luz del mundo abran los ojos, pero también otras personas que están en sectas que abran los ojos también, you know, so es lo que eso es nuestro deseo. Al final del día, eso es nuestro deseo, que nadie caiga en la trampa en la que caímos nosotros al final del día. Es lo que nosotros deseamos y si lo están, investiguen sobre esa religión. Yo, como hemos dicho muchas veces, y lo compartimos a un principio, yo en cuestión de religión jamás. ¿Creo en Dios? Sí, pero de decir yo voy a ir a una iglesia a reunirme, never again. Maybe I'm bitter.
Yo también.
Sobre eso, a lo mejor estoy asustada, estoy traumada. No creo que la palabra amargada es more
que nos mientan, eso, que ya
y el control.
Sí, que nos
y no
engañan.
dijo mi chica de que lo queremos hacer porque queremos estar de borrachos. Junior sabe, yo me tomo la mitad de una margarita en no lo necesito para ser feliz. No necesito emborracharme para reírme. Yo puedo reírme, bailar, cantar y me siento feliz. You know, me encantó Leroy, cuando vi las fotos de ustedes en el party de la niña de Raquel. Me encantó verlos a ustedes contentos, bailando, felices. That's what life is all about.
Sí, no estamos amargados. No estamos amargados.
Yeah. Anyway, nos vamos despidiendo, guys, porque ya tenemos 2 horas, 12 minutos. Quebré el récord. Lo curioso que me aproveché que no estaba Kevin. Kevin, I'm sorry.
Break record. Kevin, te mandamos un abrazo, un saludo.
Sí,
déjanos otra vez hablar aquí, English.
Y nos salimos de control. I know. Junior, thank you so much for joining us, mijo. I really appreciate your time and effort. You did awesome, mijo, for being you're doing kind of like your premiere as well.
Thank you, Junior. It was nice to meet you.
He's on mute, maybe. I don't know. But the chica, ¿estás ahí todavía, mijo?
God bless you. God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Un abrazo. Chica,
Mija,
gracias.
Búscame en Facebook para que me mandes mensaje para darte ¿Sí tienes mi teléfono todavía?
No sé. No sé, pero yo se lo paso a Sergio para que se lo pase, tía.
Y Sergio como la madre mía. Ok, perfecto.
Okay.
Besitos,
bendiciones
mija,
a todos. Gracias.
Mucho. Me encanta cuando hablas.
Sí.
Besitos.
Y Bill Indigno, sí, te va a tocar barrer. I'm sorry for you.
Bill Indigno. Te toca para la otra, No, y ya miré, ya dije yo, ya para la otra voy a agarrar. Mira, tenemos a Ali de Santiago. Oh, great. Tenemos a la gaviota. We're gonna get her on. La voy a jalar.
Y ya me estoy jalando mucha gente, así que.
Como hacer Velosa. No, we got a lot of good people.
Yes.
So, muchísimas gracias por acompañar a los Chimolboro Truja.
Chimoltrufia.
Trufia, ya. Bien gracias por acompañarnos y por tus comentarios tan directos y tan de verdad. wonderful. I really, really me encantaron. Anyway, Leroy, thank you. Are you back on the road and you're good?
I'm back. Yes, I'm back on the road, and no, I'm done for the day, basically. But thank you for allowing me to be here once again, Tia, and
thank you
nice
so
to meet
much for your
everyone
time.
here, Mati
Thank you,
Chica
Libra.
and Mrs.
We love
Rebelde,
you.
and
We love you, and you guys know that you have a
Yes.
family with
Junior.
us, right?
Yes.
Yes, and thank you.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
see you
you,
next time.
Libra.
God bless
Un
everyone.
abrazo,
Bye.
Libra. Bye.
Amen.
know.
Bye.
Blue
Yeah.
Demon. Sí,
Sí,
gracias por
tía.
enseñarnos, mijo. Yo sé que no entiendes mucho lo que decimos, pero ahora lo que hicimos hacer Spanglish, inglés y español, para que nos entendieras. Y la batichique también.
Sí.
Oh, te agradezco mucho. Y
No, ajá, dime.
a mí me da mucho gusto ver a los compañeros y ver a veces que hasta los programas se empalman. Yo platicando ahorita con uno de los compañeros, le decía, ¿usted creyó algún día ver esto? Que muchos se levantaran en contra de la luz del mundo o hablar de las mentiras de la luz del mundo.
¿Verdad
Era
que sí?
inimaginable. No lo podemos imaginar años antes, pero ahora nos toca ser parte de esta historia.
Exacto,
Un
y
abrazo,
es una bendición ver, es un abrazo, es una bendición ser parte de esto, mija.
Así.
No tenemos que dar
Así
la
es.
cara, todos no tenemos que dar la cara, y yo respeto eso por el lugar donde están, por el peligro que pueden pasar ustedes, por lo que sea, pero mientras que hablemos, a unos comentarios que se ponen aquí, me encantan. I appreciate your comments, guys. I truly, truly do. It's so, because están confirmando lo que nosotros estamos diciendo, los comentarios. Así es que en eso se les agradece muchísimo. Right, Rebelde? It's
Right.
really
Yeah. And I
Bendiciones para todos.
Ay,
Y tía,
gracias.
yo no doy la cara porque tengo una cara muy fea.
Ay, no, estás bien lindo. Dios te bendiga. Ya te conozco. Bye, mijo.
Bendiciones.
Igual que Batichi, que es una mujer hermosa.
Hermosa, ¿verdad que sí? Sí.
I love her.
Sí,
Dime,
pues
mija.
yo quiero decirle a todos, I want to say thank you everybody for coming to the live, you know. We were just going to be one-on-one, you know, and talking about our experiences and stuff like that. And look at the surprise that all my friends came, you know, and stayed with me, and they aportaron algo, poquito, ¿verdad? Y vamos a seguir haciendo esto because se necesita in Spanglish and English or however, you know. I'm down for more testimonies that people have questions, you know.
Absolutely.
And yes, thank you. I'm sending my love to everybody also también, y Dios los bendiga, and un abrazo fuerte a todos mis
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Bye, mija.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.